know what that means, baby. Can I get some bells? Let me know if you can hear me, darlings. Feels good to be back, baby. Those are some bells for that ass right there. Yes. Woo! Yes, thank you for the bells. I'm gonna change it up just a little bit. I'm waiting on a couple folks, but we about to go. Don't worry. Chill. Chill.
Told her meet me up in Midtown. She with the get down. She like how we get down. Been on this side. She ain't tryna switch now. She used some money moving, tryna make it flip now. She like, I choose you. This is it now. Told her meet me up in Midtown. She with the get down, she like how we get down. Been on this side, she ain't tryna switch now. She used some money moving, tryna make it flip now. She like, I choose you, this is it now. Told her meet me up in Midtown. She with the get down, she like how we get down. Told her meet me at the condo where used to be the Momo. They used to believe in me, but they don't do it no more. I wish I was normal, it probably is the pain. I feel like I'm Drake, cause this shit ain't been the same. Niggas switching lanes, how they switch up on the gang. Talking shit about the gang, better watch the shit you saying. Niggas better watch their mouth, yeah, they better watch their mouth. You see all these bad bitches, I'm the one who brought them out. Now a friend tryna fuck, she's better word of mouth. She like, oh, you Corleone, you the one I heard about. I said, oh, your name's Simone, you the one who made the cloud. Ever since I left the ground, I've been somewhere in the clouds. Niggas tryna blame me for the fact they ain't around. Why they always poppin' shit when they know I'm out of town? But when I'm in their face, they don't ever make a sound. You say you gon' get us, well, them niggas get us now. I'ma let them live, I'ma let them live. How much better can I get? The answer is a lot, I need a mansion in the drop. I don't do it cause I need it, bitch, I do it for the squad. Told her meet me up in Midtown. She with the get down, she like how we get down. Been on this side, she ain't tryna switch now. She used some money moving, tryna make it flip now. She like, I choose you, this is it now.
I see you, beautiful spirit.
Told her meet me up in Midtown.
Backstage is lit.
She with the get down, she like how we get down.
Yeah.
Been on this side, she ain't tryna switch now. She used some money moving, tryna make it flip now. She like, I choose you, this is it now.
Yes, baby. This.
Told her meet me up in Midtown. She with the get down, she like how we get down. Been on this side, she ain't tryna switch now. She used some money moving, tryna make it flip now. She like, I choose you, this is it now. God is dawn. Like and subscribe. Comment some night. Loving this light. Here's God is dawn. God is dawn. God is dawn.
Peace, world, peace. Yes, welcome or welcome back, baby. I am Goddess Dawn, the Mother Loving Warrior. Yes, live and in the flesh from Los Angeles, baby. It is a beautiful day for, you know what I'm saying, all of you who are experiencing adverse weather. Prayers up for you. Stay hopeful, stay prayerful. Also be smart about how you moving. Stay proactive and not reactive. You know, I'm so thankful to be here with y'all today. Literally and literally nothing else but literally. Thankful to God, my creator, the true source, for the breaths in my body, my mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. Whew. And for all y'all in the warrior chat, peeking through the windows and in the replay, love and light to all. Yes. We have had a little break from court. You know, trial proceedings continue tomorrow in Brooklyn. Yes. Looking forward to that. I understand there's some video that's going to be played and some witnesses from the video that are going to testify. So I just wanted to bring that out. Shout out to Judge Ann. Hell yeah. The prosecutors, the jurors, and most of all the witnesses, past and future. And, you know, to the defense, too, for hanging in there, because we don't need no issues. I don't want nobody talking about they sick, they got COVID or whatever. Get to work. Do your job to the best you can. But we're going to get into all of that in a minute. You know, we got a little story that shocked us all yesterday. You know, the one about the prison guard and the blogger. Blogger being Tasha K. You gone, girl. You did that. You did that shit. All right. So let me bring my people in. Beautiful spirit. Beautiful sprite. Welcome back.
Hey.
Oh. And who else is here? Love Warrior is in the clubhouse tonight.
What's happening? Good. Beautiful spirit. What's happening?
I'm messing with my sounds tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't have room for my app for a minute. I had to like really take the time to do that. Man. All right, let's see who's in the chat, and we're gonna get into some things. That might be a tribute to Armand. That might be. So, Love Warrior, but then Beautiful Sprite are here as always, having my back. I do appreciate y'all very much, despite what you might hear in them streets, because you know them haters, they will make up a story, run with it, put it on a banner, a flyer, all of that. But it's all love over here. Chantrell Estes. All right, welcome. I see a couple people down here. I'm trying to scroll, ring, talk, think, read again. Chris,
you got this, goddess. You got it.
Yes, Mrs. Parker. Hey. Yes, I love the bells. Thank you so much. Andrew Staples is here, front row in this clubhouse, trying to get him. You know, yeah, we need some panel members. We need some fresh blood up here.
Come on, Andrew.
People, Mr. Staples. Welcome, Star Pepper. Yes. Lakita.
Warrior call.
Oh, yeah, this is warrior roll call. This is warrior call. We need some energy. Do we?
Yeah.
I think we do. I think we do.
Hey, what? What y'all want?
Let's see those bells. Let's see those hearts. Let's get this energy out. Let's get this frequency up, baby. Yeah.
Get up. Dopess. We the Dopess. We the Dopess.
Get up, get up, get up. We the Dopess. Get up, get up, get up. We the Dopess. Get up, get up, get up. We the Dopess. Get up. Bitches, we got them. Niggas, we riding. Blowing shit up. Osama bin Laden. Making big plans, big things. We plotting. Taking over the game. We niggas, we stopping. Now I can make a name.
We gotta talk about this email.
For the other things that makes the fame. All the fakes and haters. I know they see me throw the deuces. Then I see them later. Everybody asking questions like, what's up with Frazier? On that new shit. I got some new chicks. I'm making new shit. You want the realness, fresh, I am the realest. Real nigga talking, then it's sick to effing ill shit. Call it dope and effing dope. Niggas can't like some they call it some shit. All about
Casper to y'all, welcome.
$10 bills, too much money, I can't fold it.
We are the dopest, baby. The best. The winning team, if you will. Yeah. Welcome from Canada and all over the world, baby. That's what we do over here. Verse 2, PJ Corleone. Let's go, baby. 1's for the money, 2's for the show, 3's for the dope. You know we about to blow up. Ain't listening. First place, so don't ever ask what my position is. Got a key in my city. You see in my city? Yeah. Don't look for me in my city either. You don't right. Have to bow to the rain, baby. Bow down, baby. Hey. Don't make me say it again. I ain't playing with them. Joe Jackson, yes, baby. Welcome back. Get this energy up. We gotta send this energy to the people. We got people who gotta go to court and tell all kind of personal shit about themselves. Disgusting, embarrassing, humiliating shit. But they doing it all for one purpose. And that's to get this mug where he belongs for a period of time, which might be for life. Might be for life. I'm just saying.
That means you, Kels. That means you, nigga.
That's right. So, before we get going, I want to talk about this email because this thing has been in my gallery for me to share with y'all, but it's been so much information since the trial, even before the trial. But since the trial, we've been on here day in and day out with y'all, talking about the goings-ons. And also, remember, I'm here to remind you who this nigga really is. Remember, he is not, there's the other side. We call them the other side, the ops, the supporters, the super fans, the groupies, whatever you want to call them. But they, day in and day out, continue to spew false narratives, fake news about how he's winning and he's coming home any minute. This person has shot the case for them. That has happened. And of course, the story has come out yesterday about the blogger who we all knew before I even saw the name, Tasha K, come up in the article. All in the middle of all the shit by disseminating illegally gotten information. Illegally gotten. There we go. But I want to talk about this email real quick because I got this email, y'all. As you can see, the title says R. Kelly getting off. Gregory Smith, 8:28 p.m. on the night of this. I think it was a live night that we went live. Hey, Goddess, how are you? So like nice. Hi, Goddess, how are you? Just wanted to tell you that I love your podcast. But I am 100% sure, 100%, this person says, that R. Kelly will have a hung jury. Maybe that's mixed with drunk, because maybe this person's drunk. But with drunk, what does alcohol do but make people tell the truth, right?
Yep.
But R. Kelly will have a hung jury in this one. I know for a fact someone on the jury, and I know for a fact that they've been paid off and biased, child. Not just paid off, honey, but biased too. Gregory motherfucking Smith. All right, well, as Miss Della. Oh, Miss Della, you here? Okay, I don't even think we announced that Miss Della would not be joining us on the panel. I'm just saying. She's entitled to not come on the panel, and there's good reason. But yeah, we have an extra spot in case anybody y'all want to come in here. I'm happy to drop the link. So let me get these hearts up. I appreciate the hearts.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Jay LaBelle in here, innocent till proven guilty. I guess you couldn't even type guilty, right? Because you're wrong, right? Said quilty. Okay, we'll take that. We'll take that. The facts are not there, and Tasha K is the one to blame, child. He said the
quilty, y'all.
Aisha Stockton too, and Queen Keish. I see y'all, queens. All right, so queens. I couldn't help it. Kings and queens. Love it. So we'll get into the Tasha K. I just want to talk about this email real quick. The reason, okay, so let me just FYI. Don't shit your pants. I have the email has been reported to the proper authorities at the court. Don't trip.
Oh yeah.
For the people who want to put in my comments the address to Miss Ann, or they say Auntie Ann. I think that's a little disrespectful, honey. She earned that judgeship, okay? It ain't no easy thing. Anybody could be an auntie. You not even have the time volunteering to do that shit. But a judgeship is much earned and should be much respected. So we call her Judge Ann over here, okay? So with that being said, Judge Ann has the information, she and her staff, the prosecutors and whatnot. Just letting you know. Because if this goes to the person who was on a panel, I don't even know the lady's name. But anyway, the person, somebody, okay, so catch this tea. Sip on this. No, it's not a big deal. But, you know, people send me things. I'm going to tell you this. If you mention me on a panel or otherwise, or if I'm in the chat and it's derogatory, there's people who, I don't know if they literally just look for this. I promise you I don't pay these people to do it. I don't know if they just want to make sure I address things. Half the time I don't. But I'm just letting you know that I done heard it or I done seen it. But with that being said, I'm gonna just address that it was brought to me that this panel was happening. This person was on the panel. Somebody in the chat brought up this email, and they said a blogger didn't mention me, of course, and that's fine. Because if you're not going to be respectful with my name, definitely don't use it publicly, especially. I'm just saying. And everybody's been doing pretty good at this point, I'll have to say. Anyway. So she says a blogger got this email saying that there's a juror who's been paid and compromised. Well, the person on the panel read the comment and goes on to say, well, I don't listen to bloggers. I don't know any bloggers. But if they got a goddamn email, why didn't they report the shit? Why are they posting it? Okay, so that tells me that the little bit of respect I had for your ass, because I seen you on panels and I actually appreciated your commentary, really ain't shit. Because you just told me that you don't have no common sense. Who says that one cancels out the other? So because I posted it means I didn't report it? Is that what you're trying to say? I think you said that, and I think you stupid for saying that. I want to say to you that I posted it. People could get a fucking hint and also report the shit. Because, of course, one email versus 100 makes a big difference, right? So this is what I'm telling y'all. Take this email, screenshot it. It's also on my community page, and you can send it to the prosecutors and put in the title real big about a juror being compromised, or about, you know, make sure you put the case number up in there. Where is that at? I have that. I'm on one. Oh, 19-286. Actually it's 1:19-CR-00286. But anyway, Blackberry 0528. Welcome. Glad to see you. Came a little earlier tonight, so a couple of y'all might be like, well, what is she doing on at this time? I don't know. Maybe you don't give a fuck. But we here. And so with that being said, I'm tying it up with a bow. You know what? Where are my mods at? Because Jay Lavelle should have been canceled up in this bitch. Ain't nobody coming for me. The feds coming for me.
How the hell the feds gonna come for God is
They're
done?
coming for me. They're coming to thank you. You know that. Right. Tell them, Love Sprite.
Feds gonna fucking trace that IP address and find out exactly who the fuck blogger it belongs to. It ain't gonna be God is done. It's gonna be belong to one of those PI members that was mentioned in today's article, and that was mentioned in the superseding indictment. How about that? So boom. Because one of your subscribers is a fucking Fed agent with your dumb asses.
Hello. If you ain't figured that shit out, because I've been telling y'all, first of all, the feds have been
over 2 years. Over 2 years.
Been on them. And if you don't think that On the other side, especially, oh, dry mouth. If you don't think one of them mods of yours, and on that other panel that make everybody a mod, like who makes everybody a mod? Like, come on. And anyway, you don't think the feds is in your got a wrench? Okay.
Got a wrench, wiretap, recorded. All you motherfuckers gonna have to bend over and call.
By Lavelle. Okay. So everybody clear on this email? The email has been reported. The email is whack. If it's true, which, look, these people are desperate, okay? Clearly, this is somebody who's trying to throw a little wrench into the game here. But what I'm going to say to you is this. They can look at this shit and look into you, find out who you are, when you last took a shit, when you last drank a beer. And at the same time, the trial is still in motion. Ain't missing a beat. Nobody is. Understand? Next thing you know, you might be getting indicted. So keep sending the emails. Can't wait to hear your testimony. I can't wait to hear who paid you to do it. Was it Tasha?
Who say?
Was it Tricky Nikki?
Okay. If anything, she was an accomplice to all of the mess right here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we on to it. We on to you. So let me get
this. They act like they dealing with the Power Patrol. Like the feds can't ping this, like Beautiful Spirit said, ping your address, IP, all that. Like, who they think they dealing with? Okay? Bye, Lavelle. Bye, Tasha. Lord have mercy.
I don't know why I didn't have this article pulled up already. But it was the Tribune, right? Yeah.
Yes, Chicago Tribune.
The goddamn Chicago Tribune. I mean, honey, if my name is in the Tribune, because who else's name was the Dry Mouth was in there too, wasn't she?
Yes, had her name all up through there. And they did say it was other bloggers that are AKA supporters, AKA distractors. So that means that they're giving us heads up that in due time, the rest of the names will be released.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good look that Dry You was in there, sweetheart, because the word to describe you was not a good word, that they used to describe her. And I don't think it's a matter of time. Unbridled, which means uncontrolled, unrestrained, and then they used it in front of gossip sharing, actors reading transcripts. I don't know if that's a good thing, because that means you unchecked, you unrestricted, excessive, you out of control, mama. So I don't know if that's a good thing that the reporters done got your name and your channel, baby. I think it's only a matter of time. Yeah, let me ring the bell for you.
They mentioned her name for a reason. Trust and believe that shit. This is just a little teaser. We ain't seen nothing yet, baby. Where's Goddess?
She'll be back. Let's see. She'll be back.
Not doing this tonight. I thought it was you. I'm like, your mute is button is push, girl.
I don't think they didn't mention her name for nothing. I think it's gonna be more to it. They ain't put her name in there for nothing. That's for
sure. The article. Hold on, let me pull this thing up.
Yeah.
We know how the feds work. When they get you, they already got you.
Exactly.
Watch you up there, you guys.
You already was the reason for the transcripts being delayed. You already was the reason for the courthouse going on lockdown. I mean, I don't think it's a moment to celebrate. I think it's a moment that you better get an attorney, baby. Not the ones y'all been trying to use for kills either.
She's the reason why Demetrius Smith had to go check his manhood.
Okay. Check that manhood.
They said he got pissed. He didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Come on, Demetrius.
Yeah, they said she pulled that hat off. He got to howling.
Scared the hell out that damn man.
Why would she do that? Who pulls up their hat and their hair is fucked up? Or they don't have
Why would they send at your distinguished age? Why would you send your cootie cat through the internet? Okay.
We're gonna get to that. I got some audio for y'all. Ooh.
He said, I don't know.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
You told me you was a woman.
You probably didn't know which way to go.
That a warrior, shit, don't she ever in her life ever use that word ever in your life?
So I know y'all heard this article read, and I know y'all heard this commentary on this thing, but we gonna do it again because honestly, I kind of skimmed through the article, and we gonna talk about it how we do. Let us know in the chat what your thoughts are too, of course, but or the comments. And come out you from behind the window, child. If you know, come on in the chat and say hey. All right. So yesterday, I get this. Somebody texted me early in the morning. They in a different time zone than me. You know, I'm on the West Coast and I get shit late. But the person that likes to send me stuff is 3 hours ahead of me. And yeah, so I posted this right on up on my community page. And I'm only saying that to say, make sure y'all are supporting the community page, Mom. Come on, like, and get up early, like to post stuff and stuff. Like, come on, y'all. But had you been tuned in and tapped in, you would have seen this early. Ex-prisons officer suspected of leaking R. Kelly's jail communications to blogger Federal Records show. Federal Records. Federal. Okay? That means something. Remember this? If y'all can see this picture.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Some of his last moments of freedom being pulled out of that filthy studio of his.
Right. Stupid ass.
Look, he got the camera, the speaker. He got two,
right.
a ring doorbell. How many cameras do you need? He need the one down low, so for the kids. That's what that is. Yeah. Okay.
Look at him. Yeah.
R&B superstar R. Kelly had been locked up at Chicago's federal jail for 4 months when a popular YouTube personality touted an inside scoop on the singer's tumultuous relationship with two girlfriends still living in his high-rise apartment. Apparently wanting to keep the women in his camp, Kelly allegedly had a friend bring $1,500 in cash to the Trump Tower residence to help pay their bills. Blogger Tasha K said in an exclusive video, exclusive is in quotes, here, okay, video posted to her YouTube channel in November of 2019. And I know that since this has been printed, people have gone back to find and to watch these videos again, and she apparently still has these things up. Seems to me she's acting like she's not bothered. She's also, I think, posted other things since then, since this has been out. So,
yep.
Damn shame. Okay, I'm sorry, I had to get my little, turn it down. Oh, damn, Tasha K. All right, so one of them, Joycelyn Savage, was angry she'd been kept off Kelly's visitors list, according to Tasha K. The other, Azriel Clary, had left the apartment and not come back, throwing Kelly into a tizzy, she said. One of them, oh, sorry. How did Tasha K know all this? Well, she wasn't telling. I think she joked about it a little bit. I remember getting the inkling that it was somebody who worked in the jail. It says in quotes, yeah, there's a phone tap somewhere and I'm not going to tell you where it's at, end quote. Tasha K told her viewers during the 39-minute video, which has so far collected more than 328,000 views. That's all? Interesting. Quote, I have the plug. I'm not going to tell you where I got the information from, but just listen to the damn information, okay? End quote. Okay, so that in itself tells me she knew. I mean, I realized that as I'm not even going to say journalist, but a blogger such as herself, she's not going to want to give up her sources. However, she knew that this information was not legally gotten. Okay. I'm pretty sure she knew that at the time. What do y'all think?
She knew it because that's what she said about the wire and tap. She knew that.
And what about, and as a journalist, a journalist knows that they have to protect their sources and wouldn't even allude to that it was something, great. Or they would just like, my sources say, anonymous sources say. Right. She made a big deal about it.
You know what?
Yeah, she made a big deal about it.
One of those videos, because I spoke about it on our live, I said, if she got somebody on the inside when she was reading the emails and telling me how he couldn't spell, I said, well, that mean the federal prosecutors need to investigate and see what guard is talking to her or whatever. And then I said, if she didn't get it from nobody on the inside, an agent or an officer, she shouldn't be out there lying saying that she got it from an officer, because she gonna get all the officers on the investigation.
So yeah, they apparently, let me read this, y'all. Now it appears federal investigators allegedly know exactly how Tasha K was plugged in. A federal search warrant recently unsealed in Chicago shows that agents seized a laptop from a U.S. Bureau of Prisons officer who was suspected of illegally accessing Kelly's recorded phone calls, emails, visitor logs, and other restricted information during his stay at the Metropolitan Correctional Center on West Van Buren Street. What? Okay.
And she did talk about those things. She sure did. Because I was like, how she know how much money he getting on commissary and stuff?
Right.
She crazy as hell. She crazy as hell. I don't know what she thinks she doing, but she's crazy as hell.
What I get from this little paragraph is, so there was a federal search warrant recently unsealed. So this has been done however many, when did they say, last year? But it was recently sealed. They unsealed stuff. Why would they unseal this? Why y'all think? Or do you think it was just because time was up on the seal? I think
it was purposely done because the prosecution wants to distance themselves from this. They want to make sure that the court and everybody knows we didn't have nothing to do with this. So unseal it, let the cards fall as they may, because they want this trial to go forward. And whoever is implicated in it, then let them be charged, indicted, and go to jail.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I also think it's a good strategy move to let them motherfuckers know. We just let y'all know we have seen y'all. Because they done dangled these two ladies' names. It's not for no reason. It's not for no reason.
Exactly. And I was going to say
that game plan.
They've been very strategic with how they are unveiling people's names, pictures. They've been entering these things into as exhibits, which is evidence. And we are looking at information now. This is a federal warrant, a search warrant, which they also uncovered the affidavit that went with it. So this is not no damn little something to be sneezing at.
All on YouTube last night, like you don't give two FTKs, knowing damn well your ass nervous than a motherfucker around here. So stop it.
I'll tell you one thing. They just giving us a little snippet of unsealed information. We ain't got the whole cookie, y'all. It's I bet you it's way more information than we
I'm gonna read the rest of this article, so it will unveil some things we haven't talked about yet. The female officer, who at the time worked as a disciplinary hearing officer at a federal prison in Wisconsin.
Out there with the Green Bay Packers. What the hell you doing all up in Chi-Town getting information?
She a wino. She was want to prove and earn her wine glass.
A hearing officer. So this person is an officer, disciplinary hearing officer, who sits there and listens to, information and decides what disciplinary consequences or not will be going to people and things. That's big decisions, big role.
Yeah. So she should know better. You sitting over on a disciplinary hearing as an officer determining these inmates, whether they broke infractions or not, yet your ass breaking the biggest infraction. Now, how do they do that?
Where they do that at? That's
Wisconsin. That's
Wisconsin. So it says that this Wisconsinite, who knows the Wisconsin accent? Wisconsin cheese. Anybody want some cheese? All right. So this Wisconsinite accessed Kelly's records more than 150 times. More than 150 transgressions right here. Crimes, okay, in a 6-month period in 2019. Even though the officer was not assigned to the MCC and, quote, had no official reason, end quote, to be looking them up, according to the 24-page document obtained by the Tribune. 24-page document.
Yeah, there's a lot we don't know.
I need that document.
Yeah, I know that's right. Goddess, you know, when you work at just a regular company nowadays, their IT department has your log on, your password. The regular companies can already, find historically when you access areas you're not supposed to be in. How in the hell you think you're gonna go in on the Bureau of Prisons to a whole nother state, a whole nother prison you don't have no affiliation with, and log into somebody as high profile as R. Kelly and not think they're gonna find out? That's a stupid move.
I don't know who's in the chat talking about this gonna get him off, because I know ain't nobody up here said that.
You know what? You finish the article, sis, and then I'm gonna speak up on that. I'm gonna answer that.
You go what? Thank you.
When you finish reading the article, I'm going to speak I'm gonna explain. They thinking that he gonna get off, but I'll give my knowledge on that.
Did y'all see Dry Mouth on the lead attorney's YouTube earlier today? No, did not. She's play. Let me tell you something. About Dry Mouth. We're gonna get into Dry Mouth, y'all. But right now,
has been as
closing the door on that bitch. Okay, right. So you guys are funny. Dry Mouth. I'm glad y'all are using the language, y'all, because we got to talk in code over here. We got to keep cute. You know how these people are. They bite everything. And y'all be over there in the chat kicking with these motherfuckers. You better start calling these people out. Damn plain.
Dry hole. Shit, dry hole.
Dry hole.
Yeah. Beautiful spirit.
Dry Mouth is because Miss Baby Yoda, who's not here tonight, one time we were talking and she was like, "What'd you call that lady? Oh, Dry Mouth." And I just thought that was hilarious. And I said, that's her new name. But you know what? Dry Hoe? Dry Hoe might be it.
Okay.
That's where we landing. Kid 2012 who testifies next. Well, good question. We have word on who's going to be testifying. Like who is supposed to be testifying that we actually know of?
Javante.
Yeah, we know her Jane Doe yet, or is she using that? I'm gonna say number 7. I'm gonna say there's a Jane Doe number 7. Okay,
yeah, I'm sorry.
And I have a motion I'm gonna get into that was filed on behalf for the prosecutors filed a motion regarding Jane Doe number 7, who will be testifying. Jane Doe number 7 did appear on the Surviving R. Kelly series. Jane Doe number 7 did discuss how she herself, because of the bus, something happened. The bus did something, and the doors opened to the back, and she happened to see Sylvester with Aaliyah. And she
Cheryl Mack
sexually abusing her, and she witnessed that. But now she's coming in to speak on her own abuse.
And let's send her lots of love and protection.
Yes, we are sending her lots of love.
We got your back. We got your back.
Yes.
Jane Doe number 7.
Yes.
We got your back.
All the love, Queen. All the love and protection.
That's the one. Oh, Dry Hoe.
Yeah.
Oh, Dry Hoe, y'all. Listen.
We're also hearing about London on the Track, Mama.
Listen, let me divert. Let me divert real quick. Hold that. Put a pin in the Cheryl Mack real quick.
Okay.
We're gonna divert to Dry Hoe since she came up. Oh, Dry Hoe. I have tons of audio for y'all, but right now I'm gonna play one piece. I think this is the one. It's 44 seconds worth of dry hoe comedy. She's gonna be my comedy relief.
She dry hoeing around.
Oh, okay. Listen up. Let me get the volume right.
They have a story, and that story is false, and we have to debunk every lie that they have put out because they have an agenda to bring Mr. Kelly down. And I believe every single one of us was ordained and positioned before the foundation of this earth to be here right now, in this position, to be able to help this man. You know, he's not alone, and he knows that now. Because all the stuff that's been done out here and how the world is changing now. You know, lies are being brought out. You know, that's what it's all about.
Oh, that was the wrong damn clip. God dang it. Hold on, because there's another one. Here it is.
Are angry with Robert because they're jealous. They're jealous because this man has rose to the position that he has rose. He has been gifted and he utilized the gift that God has given to him. Now, I'm not saying that his sex life is perfect. None of y'all's sex life is perfect. Some of you guys do some. Look, I used to be a sex phone operator. I used to talk to these people who had fantasy. One of the things that these people was saying that they wanted done to them, wanted to do to other people. Robert is a choir boy compared to some of those people that I talked to. He's a choir boy.
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Not the head of the praying mantises gonna come out.
I'm gonna hear that one more time.
He has been gifted and he utilized the gift that God has given to him. Now, I'm not saying that his sex life is perfect. None of y'all's sex life is perfect. Some of you guys do some. Look, I used to be a sex phone operator. I used to talk to these people who had fantasies, right? And some of the things that these people was saying that they wanted done to them, wanted to do to other people. Robert is a choir boy compared to some of those people that
Oh, child.
He's a choir boy.
Not a phone sex operator, dry hoe. No, not you. And this was Sunday morning, mind you. This is her Sunday morning testimony, child. I'm telling you.
Hell no.
And
hell no. Hell no.
She's helping and healing
You over there always calling on the Lord, got all these women with the praying mantises, and you gonna come out and say you a sex phone operator? It just gets better and better with you.
Okay, listen, this is a season of exposure. Whether they're exposing themselves or being exposed. I mean, I'm talking everything from PPP loans to these transcripts telling us all the dirty, nasty business. Tasha K and this prison guard. I mean, and then this dry hole telling us she was a phone sex operator. I mean, and then she's going to go into, which I have the audio of how she and Demetrius Smith back in 2019, he was ejaculating, guys. He was ejaculating to our phone conversations. He didn't even know me. Well, apparently you were using your slick tongue. That tongue can't form a sentence. It can't form a proper word. Here, let me do that real quick.
There's a lot of backlash that comes with this. Since I am in the front row, I'm trying to say. I can never say words right, okay? I was originally a foreigner, and I have a lot of my
foreigner my ass.
A lot of my mind might be a little bit different from yours, but what I'm trying to say is that you guys are the one that's doing it. You guys.
Yeah, I missed that last part where she's like, she says foreigner. What she means is the foreigner to earth. She is inhuman, this person. She's not even human, I believe. I'm telling you. She one of them things that's change up on you. What they call them? Shapeshifter.
I know. She married a foreigner to give him a green card. She ain't no damn foreigner. She don't want to be that's trying to come out before they expose her ass. That's why she coming out telling because they
That
getting
hole
ready.
so dry, that hole so dry. That's how they talk. They dried
How
up.
in the hell you gonna be leading a bunch of people in prayer and you know, not to say that your past can't be changed, but obviously you still ain't doing right. You still been around here doxing and messing with people, and your intentions are all wrong. And this is why. Because you are vibrate so low. You down in the deepest crevices of the earth, baby. And you
And
really need to get
listen, Blackberry has a good point. What's up with these supporters and sex stuff? That's so true. No wonder they are for RK, always something on that side. That is so true. That's
and
why
trying to sound like a 3-year-old running around here,
shout out Blackberry.
dry sliding and shit, talking about some you guys, I'm so scared.
Child, let me get back to this article real quick and get this done. Listen, this officer identified only as Officer A. You know what? When they say Officer A, that tells me they got an Officer B and an Officer C. I'm just saying.
A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they about to run them.
That's how they got to talk to Sylvester. That's how they got to talk to Sylvester every day before they have a conversation. They got to go through the alphabet first.
Right.
It says that Officer A also emailed herself a 12-page scan of R. Kelly's jail records.
12-page
affidavit from an investigator with the U.S. Justice Department's Inspector General's office. Child, the officer retired. Yeah, this officer retired in December of 2019, according to the affidavit. She has not been charged. Why do you think she ain't been charged?
Full immunity. Full immunity.
Full immunity.
That 12 pages. That 12 play, baby.
Baby.
At the door.
We have heard it before. The unsealing of the search warrant comes in the middle of Kelly's racketeering trial in New York on charges alleging he was the head of a criminal enterprise that for decades recruited girls and young women and held them against their will to satisfy Kelly's illegal sexual appetites. Now, people want to say, like old dry hoe, that this behavior is just his personal sex life. And this is her point of bringing up the fact that she was a sex phone operator, because she's trying to tell y'all that I've heard it all. And from what I've heard, this ain't shit. This man's a choir boy. Well, it sounds to me like she needs to be giving us a list of some of these predators and child rapists that she's been talking to on the phone, sex phone line, child. Because how you gonna say this is some choir boy shit? I ain't never heard no shit like this in my life.
Right.
Are you serious right now?
That's right. That's right, Goddess. It's beyond the payout. It's like the gifts that keep on fucking giving, like the bumps.
Every day.
Like
tomorrow is a new one too.
But you know what? That reveals a part of her characteristics and what she into. So she trying to let Kels know, nigga, you thought you was doing something to Billy Badass. I'm dry hoe ass. I'm
like, I am with it, and I am with it, and then some.
Okay, because I'm gonna dry that ass out.
My name is Dry Hoe, and I am in the house. I'm here to suck it dick.
They said there's dry holes in this house. It's dry hole in this house.
Oh my God!
It's dry hole.
She was like, oh shit, you guys, my dryer hole's coming out.
Oh wow. So Andrew says she was cooperating with the feds allegedly. So that, let me finish this and then I'm gonna talk about what I think, child. Okay. So Kelly is identified in the warrant as only inmate A. I mean, are there other inmates? Is there a whole other thing we're gonna be looking at here? Okay. So he's described as a nationally recognized celebrity. They said nationally. They didn't even say internationally. Ooh, the shade. The criminal case has received media attention. Sources confirmed the investigation. Peter's not happy about this now. Peter said You must recognize.
He was like, I told you to dust the water. You didn't do it right, ho.
You dry hole. Don't know what to put the water.
The
I know
ancestors are
Peter
good.
running for the damn hills once he done heard this shit. You know, he like got his holy water and all ass.
No, he's still there.
Crab family done kicked his ass, sent his ass back. They mad as hell. Disown him.
All right, let's go. Sources confirm the investigation and videos referenced in the federal document line up with Kelly-related videos posted on YouTube. Okay, so they on YouTube and they matching videos to the documents. Kelly is identified in the warrant only as, oh, I read that part. Okay. In an emailed statement Tuesday, the BOP, Bureau of Prison spokesperson, wrote the Bureau could not comment on the issues pending investigation, in quotes, for privacy, safety, and security reasons. The documents offer a glimpse into the unbridled cottage industry that has sprung up on social media since the allegations against R. Kelly exploded in 2019 with the Lifetime docuseries Surviving R. Kelly, which eventually led to federal indictments in Brooklyn and Chicago, as well as similar charges in Cook County. That was a whole mouthful, Jason Weissner.
Yeah.
Since then, R. Kelly supporters and detractors, that would be us. We got to mention, y'all. Oh, have devoted countless hours on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, parsing every last detail of the singer's life and the charges against him. When a South suburban woman posted R. Kelly's $100,000 bail in the Cook County case in February 2019, she instantly became a hot topic of conversation, with some bloggers on social media calling for a boycott of the restaurant she owns, while others wrongly identified her as the operator of a Southside daycare. Oh, she wasn't involved in the daycare? My bad. As the trial has been unfolding in New York, one blogger who posts under the name Infamous Sylvia, that's dry hole, y'all. That's dry hole. She got her mention. Has even been using actors. That's put a little much on it, I say, but she's been using actors to read aloud from the trial transcripts, creating what she bills as raw reenactment.
But actors make believe. Actors, you know, they unfortunately don't know that she can't read. But that unbridled adjective actually is not a good adjective. That's what I was saying. Like, this is not a positive moment for her. You know, I don't know if she thinks it is, but it's not.
I agree. I think she does think it is. I've heard her on her channel mention the fact that she was mentioned. Did I have that audio, Love? We were listening to some of this audio earlier. I think she said it on something I have that, oh, we got mentioned, guys. And welcome all you new people. And sadly, she is getting a lot of new people. She is getting a lot of attention because of this. And she, you know, this is the woman who literally got pulled out of the overflow room at the courthouse, searched not just her belongings, but her body, all her cavities, because she is so untrusted in these streets, including now the Brooklyn Federal Courthouse. This woman got pulled out of the courtroom after pouring the holy water onto the courthouse steps to, as she says, be embarrassed and humiliated because she is the blogger who live streamed someone calling wrongly, illegally from the courthouse to describe the jurors who were coming off the elevator. We talked about this. We broke all of this down. I wish I had the date to that live in case you missed it, because we got the receipts and everything. Shout out to who was the person? I can't think of the name of the person, but
powerhouse.
But she sent her other little dry little ho-hos out there when she said I need
and her dry. What are her dry people called?
Her dry ho-hos.
Dry ho and the dry ho-hos.
Yeah, she said, I wish somebody could get down there. I need one of y'all to get down there and try to get in that courtroom and get, if possible. Did she say smuggle a phone, or did she just say, I need one of y'all to get down there till I get there? And we need to know what's going on and what you see. Some kind of way
Listen, they
She
already
told it on the live.
they already know who the hell she is at the courthouse when she email and walk in. They damn go to lunch and put signs up to go to lunch when they see her ass coming. They are over this woman. Like, she doesn't have a fucking clue. Like,
That's why
can
that
you
man
really
asked
be
her
that blind?
when
Like,
that
you
marcher
are a
said
target.
you the YouTuber. She goes, "See, why would you ask me that? Because they know who the fuck you is. That's why."
I agree, Blackberry. Just the beginning, baby. Just the beginning. So back to this article. It says, now they ain't finished with old dry hole now, but perhaps none of the gossip mongers has been as successful as Tasha K. So they're shitting on you, dry hole, right there. Gossip monger.
There you go. And a gossip monger and not successful, that's not a positive comment, honey. Yep.
Whose celebrity news dispatches on the YouTube channel Unwind with Tasha K regularly garner hundreds of thousands of views and presumably significant advertising dollars. The 39-year-old Atlanta-based blogger, whose real name is Latasha Kibi, often touts her videos as offering exclusive information and insight into Kelly's world with interviews of key players as well as updates on the allegations, including many that go far beyond even the most salacious details offered in court. According to the warrant, the warden of Chicago's MCC first reported to BOP Internal Affairs on November 22nd, 2019. That Tasha K, quote, had revealed sensitive law enforcement information, end quote, regarding the celebrity identified as Kelly, including, quote, information that would have been known to BOP employees who had monitored inmate aides' telephone calls or accessed the recordings of those calls. So they was on that ass right away. November 22nd, that was what? When did they say it first came out? November something, 19th, whatever it was.
Yeah,
it wasn't much
right
further.
before that.
Right.
The agent hacked this shit 4 days after he arrived.
Because I'm going to tell you this. As many people as that might want for somebody like Tasha K to be putting out this information, there's also people who don't want her to be putting out this information. They're going to tell. They're going to tell. And that's what happens. That's why old dry hole got pulled up the courthouse that day. She got pulled out the courthouse because somebody told on her ass because she was live streaming and they said she'd be sneaking phones in. So they searched every cavity. They searched everything. They took her into the bathroom. They had to ask her which one first, but they took her into the restroom and they did the thing. Okay. She had to prove she didn't have no phone. Not a person.
Brooklyn didn't have time to get a unisex bathroom just yet. They ain't had time to remodel.
Yeah, they didn't have that on the first floor. So she had to, let them know which one. Tell us which one. Okay. And she's, well, what did I do? What's wrong? It's not me. Okay. This thing goes on. The warrant mentions 3 specific videos posted by Tasha K that are still publicly viewable on YouTube. Among them was November 8, 2019 video titled Exclusive New R. Kelly Enablers Revealed, where she appears to scroll through her cell phone while reading a summary of a recent call between Kelly and Savage that was recorded on the jail system. Quote, I've got some explosive information. Tasha K, that's in my Tasha K voice. Tasha K says after taking a sip of white wine from a large goblet. They can describe the wine and everything. So Rob called Joycelyn and she was crying hysterically. She said Azriel was leaving the Trump Tower and she was not coming back. Now I told you I got the plug. So this is all facts. This is in quotes. Another video posted December 22nd, 2019. Now, mind you, she posted a video on December 22nd, and at this point, she had already been got. They done already known. They done kept a watch on her ass.
And the agent had retired. And the agent had retired on the 9th or something like that, or the 19th.
The 16-minute video, which had more than 512,000 views as of Tuesday, features Tasha K reading verbatim from those emails Kelly reportedly sent from jail to Savage a month earlier, including details of how he misspelled the word high as H-I-A-I. It's not, she said, I'm not going to put it up there because this is considered somebody's private information or whatever, she says, using air quotes as she looks down at her phone. But you know my word, trust me. Wow. Keeb could not immediately be reached for comment on Tuesday. So she all big and bold on her YouTube channel, acting so unbothered, like she all that, like, oh yeah, we just getting started. We just scratching the surface. Like, but you're not commenting to the paper. Why are you
the people didn't know how to read. She said the people.
Well, how come you didn't comment to the Tribune?
Right.
How come you didn't comment to the Tribune, Tasha K? How come you didn't want to balance out the story?
Why you ain't called none of your 3 lawyers you got on retainer since you always yelling and have them comment? Huh?
Do you still have 3 lawyers?
She said Olga was #1 outstanding in the world. Mm-hmm.
A review of Officer A's logins to the Bureau of Prisons Internal Information System, meanwhile, showed that the officer had improperly accessed Kelly's records 153 times between July 15, 2019, when Kelly first arrived at the MCC. So July 15. So as soon as he hit the damn hallway, as soon as he hit the cavity search room, this bitch is all up in the records.
Yep, he wasn't there 72 hours good. He didn't even get switched out yet in the damn jail uniform.
And December 12, 2019, shortly before her retirement, according to the warrant. So her dumb ass was like, F it. I'm about to retire anyway, so it ain't going to bother me none. Well, you didn't think they was going to look up your information, your records, like it's going to affect you in a horrible way.
You know what, Goddess? We all want chaos to go down, but we don't want this here kind of trifling shit. Let him go down for how he's supposed to go down. Y'all shouldn't be doing this. It's really wrong.
Good day. Hello to you. Exactly. We want a fair trial. Like everybody's out here like, they over there celebrating. The other people over there, the P-Hive, the supporters, the groupies, the super fans, they're over there celebrating this as if Tasha K is the answer to their mistrial. And but they've been talking the fact that he's going to be walking home out of them doors every day since the trial has been going on. But now Tasha K is a savior. So that means to say to me that you don't have one in real life. You just talking that shit. I'm just saying that to say, stop capping, man. You know this man is guilty. You know he gonna be found guilty. And I'm gonna talk about Keith Raniere before we log off this thing today, and how his case, in which he was sentenced 120 years, mirrors R. Kelly's case. And why your little bullshit don't even count of what you talking about, because all the same shit happened in Keith Raniere's case, but yet he still got sentenced to 120 years. All charges, guilty on all charges. Sure did. And we'll talk about that. Yep. Okay, so let me get this article. Damn, it's a long. I guess because we keep talking. Okay,
You're almost done.
I'm almost done. During that time, the officer also accessed and printed out Kelly's visitor logs and payments made into and out of his commissary account, which included the names of people sending money to Kelly while he was in jail, according to the warrant. On November 13, 2019, the officer sent herself a 12-page scan of Kelly's jail records from her official BOP email account to a Gmail address registered to her, according to the warrant. I guess that's the slick part in her mind. Like, I'm just going to email it to myself. I mean, who's going to care about that? I mean, like, oh my goodness. How do these people get these jobs anyway? She probably started out as a janitor back in the 80s and moved her way up at this point, because there was no education in anywhere in this person's life. I'm debating whether or not they even have a high school diploma. But on November, okay, I read that. Let's see. Among the information in that scan was a log of Kelly's emails, including some later divulged by Tasha K in her video blog. The warrant sought permission to search Officer A's desktop computer for any evidence of a crime, including any internet searches of R. Kelly, as well as financial transactions or discussion of payments with Tasha K. And that's
what's going to blow her ass out. That's what's going to lock her ass up.
Look, I don't care what she says on that now dry ass channel of hers. Yeah, she dry too, because I feel like if you lying and full of shit the way she is, such a liar and so full of shit, That shit is so whack. Like, why do people even tune into that bogus shit? It's bogus. 250 mark for Dry Hoe on the TLA channel. Please go watch when you get time. Goddess and Love Warrior. 258 mark on that, everybody. All right, I guess.
All right. Lasting impressions.
I hope it's gonna be,
baby.
We
got you, baby.
Worthwhile audio for me. I hope. Okay, so he's been coming home for 2 years. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, get a new hashtag, get a new tagline, get a new life. Okay, so what did we learn? Like, what I learned from this is that Tasha K broke the damn law. Not just the of course the Bureau of Prisons officer did, but she also did. She's not ignorant to the crimes her source committed. I'm convinced of that. And ignorance to that is not an excuse. It doesn't keep you from being penalized.
That's right. Ignorance of the law does not stop you from being arrested. Ignorance of the law does not stop you from getting consequences. It doesn't help. So you can plead all the ignorance you want. Your ass still gonna have consequences about this.
What's up, JC? Exactly. Now, I'm wondering, so we all noticed when she changed her tune about R. Kelly, when she was first putting these videos out, she was talking about how guilty he was and was putting all his enablers on blast and all this and that. She got involved with Angelo Clary and getting stories about Azriel out there and all that. Next thing we know, she's done a 180. What? So
that's what she said today. She worked with the feds every day.
Oh, now she said she works with the feds.
And she said that people don't know how to read. She said how the old saying goes, if you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in a book because they ain't gonna go find out. And she claiming that everybody is blogging about it, but they ain't read the article. No, B, you ain't read the article. We did read the article.
We just read the article. Did we hear that she's working with the feds or that she's not in any way implicated?
Tasha K, as I first started following Kate, she said she's working with the feds and all this and that and the third. Then she turned around and said she was Team Kells. Everybody's lying. She's gonna prove it. She ain't never worked with the feds. She don't know what people talking about. I pulled up the video, put it on Twitter, told her she was a damn lie when she had the blue-eyed devils up there disrespecting Aaliyah and all the other survivors and victims. And she's sitting up there letting them, I didn't need a platform to just let them talk and hear their side. They don't need no platform when they was sitting up there transporting underage girls to this monster.
I want to know how this is supposed to help R. Kelly. There's people saying this is gonna get him on. How is it supposed to help him?
Guess what, y'all? If y'all think about it, this article tells a lot. It's like a lot, but it tells a lot in a little article. Reason why I say that. If that agent got full immunity, that means she had to have something way more serious. What did she give them that was so important for her to be able to retire, keep her pension? Right. And what do Tasha K and infamous Sylvia got to do with it? Now, they didn't give up Tasha K government name in this article. They didn't give up Sylvia's just yet. But they ain't mentioned their names for nothing. And we don't know what they discovered when that warrant got the search warrant and those devices. See, they giving us little snippets. We don't know what she communicated with this agent, this officer, what the emails or text message was. I mean, they throwing out little hints. They know when she was looking down on the phone, what she was reading and looking at. They know when emails exchange and text messages was exchanged between her and this officer. So, and then for these people to say, oh, it's evidence, everything's going to get thrown out because they got something. This is what I don't understand. They all keep harping on Miss Jane Zale. Zale is not the only victim that R. Kelly has in his case. Zale is not the reason why he's being taken down. All the other victims that he done had was way before Miss Zale was even thought of and brought in this world.
No, we're talking Jane Doe number 5.
Yes, Jane Doe number 5. They all talking about, oh, It's because it goes back to Zell. Everything, his whole case, even the Chicago case, gonna get thrown out. And this is thanks to Tasha K. So they saluting her, throwing all these banjo parties and all this carrying on and blowing their little whistles. They so damn dumb.
Yeah, I guess
Zell
they're
is
thinking
not.
that, beautiful spirit, they're thinking that because of this leak of information, that his attorneys could ask for anything to do with Jane Doe 5 be thrown out.
But you
But
know what?
but that's not even a guarantee.
No.
And
But guess what?
also hold on one second. Remember when trial first started, there was a sealed letter about Jane Doe 5 that was filed with the court. Basically, the defense was trying to get her testimony thrown out then. They're not throwing her testimony out because the RICO is all about the patterns and him telling people what to do. So it's like they don't understand the charges. Even if, like you said, and I agree, even if they were to somehow get her testimony thrown out, she's not the only victim in this case. But it would be a tragedy though. We wouldn't want that just for her justice, just for
You
her sense of peace, to have the courage to go up and testify. I pray that doesn't happen. But
but
in all likelihood, I don't think it will.
but it's not, you know what? They letting us know this now, but they been knew about this. I think both sides, prosecutors
You're
and
right.
defense. By the time that agent had already retired, honey, see, they was on it from day one. They probably
Exactly.
they'll let you go a little ways and hang yourself, so they when they come get you, they already got you. But y'all think about it. Remember when he got caught using one of the officers' cell phone, and he was doing some bribery on a three-way call, and the officer act like he didn't know the cell phone was recording the conversation, and it got sent straight to the feds and the judge while
Right.
he was locked up in jail. That might have something to do with this. It might be linked up in here because that's within that time frame.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's and smuggling the letters in and out of jail. See, Tasha broke that too.
Yeah, Tricky Nikki was smuggling in
She and
information and phones and all stuff too.
Tasha
What
K
about
broke
that?
Tasha K broke the news about the bribery three-way call on the cell phone. She also broke the news about the 17th floor flicking the light on and off, and that's why he wanted them to be on the red line at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and wave up at that window. And the officer told him you can turn this light switch on and off, and they'll be able to see you. That's she also leaked that out too. So I think this is this, and ain't no telling what else recorded whatever the heck was going on. Ain't no telling what else that she probably been sitting on that she know. We don't. Hey, we don't know.
And mind
We
you,
don't know.
this information is only telling us what happened between Tasha K and this person. Tasha K being the YouTuber who put this out with her thing getting hundreds of thousands of views or whatever. We don't, this person, this Bureau of Prisons officer probably leaked this stuff out to a bunch of different people. They said
Yeah,
this person searched 153 times. That's 153 crimes, child. 153
That's right.
searches.
and
Every
they
time is
started
a crime.
with the letter A. And what that warden say? We got a problem.
I want to say shout out to Joanne Reynolds, Diva Time 2, and I saw who else? I saw somebody else.
JC.
Hazel Lee. Oh yeah, we spoke to
JC.
Tracy too. Yes. Hazley, yes. Okay, so and you guys are right on target as always with these comments. But go ahead. So yeah, I was just basically trying to say R. Kelly to me in this could be also looked at as complicit in this because they're trying to prove obstruction and racketeering and all this stuff. Well, this could be looked at as attempted obstruction. Her putting any information out regarding him could be looked at as his plan to obstruct shit. Like,
and she did mention
And
that
try
in
to
the
throw his
email.
trial, goddess. That's right.
exactly.
But you know what? She also put it out there that he told her in one of the emails, as far as Joyce and Levi, he didn't know that she loved him so much and all that, and should have known she was the lawyer one. But remember when she also mentioned in the email, she claims that Joycelyn and him was saying they gonna figure out a way how to talk in code in the email. And did she catch on what he was saying? She said yes. And he said how somebody would come to the Trump Towers or they talk to her, and she'll know what he talking about and when it's coming from him, a message, some kind of cold conversation. Telling she was saying about yeah, she be figuring out what how to say it and what not to say because she know they watching.
Mm-mm-mm. I personally feel someone contacted her and said, look, we need you to go spin this story the other way, or else we're going to expose you.
And then you know what else too? She also put those victims and the survivors' life in jeopardy because we should have known when Azriel had left. And you know the supporters went on a wild goose hunt trying to find out was she still at the Trump. Remember they was all staked out in front of the Trump Towers.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was driving, circling around the block. Somebody was a few blocks over. They was everywhere. They hit them streets heavy, trying to find that baby to do harm to her.
Yeah.
I remember that. She
Even trying to see if Joycelyn had left and threatening, saying if she had turned her back on her, she was gonna probably get her ass whooped too. Because they needed loyal people with R. Kelly.
Well, look, whoever is celebrating this as a win for him has got it all wrong. And I feel like I have an idea who this might be. Who's spreading this false information? Like,
It's in writing, it's in black and white. And I know the other side is kicking and mad. I mean, they're so mad that they're sending letters and calling the judge to keep us from the court, keep us from getting the transcript. That's how mad and angry they are.
huh?
Why? Why are you so evil that you want this man to spend years in jail for something that he didn't do?
We're the evil ones.
Revenge of somebody that raped or molested you. Go after that person. Stop using Robert as your scapegoat.
Really,
Wow.
lady? You your own fucking reason why y'all can't get transcripts. You know, you know.
Child of your anger, of your resentment, of something you didn't get resolved when you were young, or somebody didn't help you back then. He is not the person that did that to you. And your pain is real, but do not allow them to take this man and put him under for your own personal damages.
Damages. Oh, brother. She over there crying, boo-hooing. What are you doing all that for if he's just so innocent? He's finna come home so clearly and you're so confident about it. Like, I can't help but pay attention because you know what? This lady has 700 to 1,000 people in her chats now because of this bullshit-ass reporter. Damn you, Jason, putting her name out there, and also whatever else somebody put her in Tasha K's chat too. I think she said she got some new subscribers and followers. But nevertheless, our little selves over here, we pack a powerful punch. Okay? I might not get the chat everybody get, but I got some good amount of subs, and my word, my name, get out there. We ring bells up in these YouTube streets.
Okay.
We tell the damn truth over here. We don't pull no punches over here. We ain't scared of nobody over here. And we are also protected, and we don't fucking lie for what? Fucking for what? Oh, yeah, exactly, Sylvia. It's not that deep, girl. Girl, calm down, child. I just want to slap her. I really do. I usually don't even say that about people, but I just see myself going up to her. I'm told she's kind of tall too. You know, just right there on that fat jaw. I know. I address them sometimes. Her mostly, Diva Time.
She putting out people's addresses and jobs and stuff. And these people have harassed these victims and showed up on the scene at the job and stuff, trying to find where they live at. Hell, for all we know, this officer, Tasha K, still might be the ones in behind her giving up the address with one of the victims when I would be trying to charge some attempted murder charges if it was me, because he could have just as well killed the family.
Might as well. Child.
He done put a ring of fire around the house and blew up the car and shot at the family when they come running. He tried to burn them out.
He came up in questioning, right? I think they brought him up too. I'm looking forward to what's coming. We talked about so there's a motion. I don't think I need to read the whole motion. Y'all probably heard about the motion that came through a couple days ago, and the motion was from the prosecutors about Jane Doe number 7. And I think I have mentioned, you didn't know. Okay, so yeah, the motion. Okay, so I could put it on the screen. This is.
But y'all do know when he tried to do that bribery on that three-way call too. It was about allegedly a 14, 15-year-old girl. And I remember that too. Who remember that?
And they said that whatever videos they're finna play, because they about to play a couple videos, y'all. Everybody's been, where are the videos? Well, they got the videos are gonna apparently have 2 people that are gonna show up to testify to corroborate the videos, y'all. So we are, I agree about people being happiest when they're ignorant. You're right about that, Divaton, for sure. That's dry hoe over there. Government employee. She says she worked for the census. Much as she's online, I would say that was a temporary job.
They were all temporary jobs. The census job.
She ain't no she's not on the board, or she's not like any type of manager or like working in HR for the census or payroll. No, she was one of them people who probably knocking on doors, huffing and puffing, child. They said coming up, Hazel, the next testimonies will be regarding these. Because remember, Friday's testimonies were mostly the experts, the digital forensic people and the iPhone, iPad people, remember? So they brought all that out to corroborate and, basically say, look, these phone numbers, we've proven that they belong to him. We've proven this, we've proven that. So now we're going to show you the actual video. So now you don't have to question whether or not it's authentic or not. It's been authenticated. So we're going to show you the video. So that's next.
Bring on the videos, baby. Bring them on.
No, we ready for the video. Yes, we are. Listen, I'm looking forward
for the jurors and the judge, everybody's mental state of mind after they view that sickle shit. I'm praying that they have a sound frame of mind.
Okay, let me pull up this document. And let me tell y'all this too. Because of old dry hoe, in Pacer, in the history of documents, so typically this is where if you haven't been in there, where you will see day-to-day reports of what happened, depending on when they had court or hearing, this, that, it tells something. And this is where they file the motions and all the stuff. Well, since all this stuff has been going on about these transcripts, they're now forced to post, looks like daily, whenever they have trial, when they had to backdate this and go back and put this in for all the dates. So it tells you the notice of filing of official transcript, and has the date, the judge, the transcriber, and the court reporter, how to contact them. Like all the information about the transcripts is there. And I think they did that because you have certain people hounding these court reporters. Which one was that? Dang, I didn't mark it, I don't think. I have an audio. I know y'all don't want to hear this person, but she's complaining about the transcripts. I think I played it already. But yeah, she can't get the transcript. She's bugging. She didn't realize it was a holiday weekend. First of all, they closed early that day. They probably were off. Like, she's over there crying that it's her. They singling her out and all this stuff. Well, now they have to put this stuff in Pacer so that it's clear, so everybody can get the information there and the dates that the stuff will be available and all of that. In other words, don't call me ho. Look at Pacer.
That's right.
Pacer. All right. So let's see. This is document number 192. Okay, the motion in limine. Did you know they were tripping about the way they were sketching our? Of course they were. Didn't she use her ID for that job to get info on her account? She probably did. She's being accused of that, and she's going to get caught also. If she
Yep.
did.
Guess what? They about to take her old fake crime friend ass down. And she got her own personal cases within the
How they
privacy
say,
of her
how
own
they
home.
say, beautiful spirit. They said, I think we said it earlier tonight. The state arrests and then investigate. The feds investigate and then arrest. It's coming, baby. It's only a
I
matter
have
of
it.
time.
I have that. We're going to play that clip.
Okay. It's only a matter of time.
All right. So this is the document that was filed, the motion from the government. And it is basically saying they want to clarify. I'll read the top here. Dear Judge Donnelly, the government respectfully submits this letter seeking clarification of the court's ruling on the government's motion in limine with respect to Jane Doe 7. At the final pretrial conference, the court asked the government why it believed evidence related to Jane Doe 7 should be admitted at trial, notwithstanding that it occurred in or about 1991. See transcript of August 3rd, final pretrial conference. And the government responded to that at the time saying, Your Honor, Jane Doe number 7 is prepared to testify that in light of her relationship with the defendant, which included the fact that they had sexual contact with each other when she was a minor, she was in a position to view the defendant engaged in sexual activity with Jane Doe number 1. So it is a part of her background that I would say her history is inextricably intertwined with. That information is inextricably intertwined with her account of how she knew the defendant, why she was with the defendant when she saw the defendant engaged in sexual activity with Jane Doe 1. So this is what they're wanting to clarify this stuff. It says
most likely that's gonna get in. Most likely that's gonna get in.
Yeah, I agree.
They just want to make sure, but yeah, that's gonna get in.
So then they go on. It says, after the defendant confirmed that he intended to dispute that he had engaged in sexual activity with Jane Doe number 1 prior to their marriage in August 1994, the court found that the evidence the government has sought to admit regarding Jane Doe 7 was clearly relevant, noting that the defendant could cross-examine her about it, but that such evidence was directly relevant to that of the first racketeering act. Thereafter, the defendant sought additional time to review the Section 3500 material related to Jane Doe 7 and submit additional briefing before the court finalized its ruling. The court afforded the defendant such an opportunity. Oh, he over there trying to get out of here, man. On August 6, 2021, the defendant submitted his supplemental brief regarding the government's motion to admit other acts of evidence. In his supplemental brief, the defendant made no additional arguments specific to the government's arguments for admitting evidence regarding Jane Doe number 7 or the court's issue. Instead, he simply recited the general principles of the evidence, of which the court was well aware of when it reached its initial conclusion to allow the government to introduce evidence related to Jane Doe number 7. At the start of the trial on August 18, 2021, the court stated it, quote, adhered to my decision that I made at our final pretrial conference on August 3rd, end quote, but then reviewed the outstanding in limine motions to ensure that it had not forgotten to rule on any of them. Trial transcript at 4, with respect to Jane Doe number 7, the court stated, the first has to do with the alleged sexual abuse of Jane Doe number 7, a minor, in 1991. That is granted only insofar as there is evidence that Jane Doe number 7 witnessed the alleged sexual abuse of Jane Doe number 1. That's admissible for the same reasons that I ruled that evidence about Jane Doe number 1 was admissible. The remaining evidence is not admissible about Jane Doe number 7. Conduct is alleged to have taken place before the enterprise began, so I am excluding that. Okay, so it looks like her testimony about her own abuse was not allowed. Only her testimony to witnessing him with Jane Doe number 1. Okay. The government understood this ruling to be different from the ruling initially articulated by the court on August 3rd, 2021, to allow evidence of the sexual abuse of Jane Doe number 7 to be admitted at trial. The government respectfully requests that the court clarify or reconsider its August 18th ruling with respect to Jane Doe number 7 to allow her to testify regarding the circumstances of the defendant's sexual abuse of her as a minor. The government currently expects to call Jane Doe number 7 as a witness at trial on Friday, September 10th, 2021. Okay.
Shout out. Jane Doe number 7, baby.
Day after tomorrow.
We got your back, baby.
If permitted to, so yeah, she should absolutely be able to tell her own abuse. I agree. I mean, they should have clarified that. I mean, okay. If permitted to testify regarding her sexual abuse by the defendant, Jane Doe number 7 is expected to testify that in or about 1991, she met the defendant at his apartment in Chicago, Illinois, after a female acquaintance who was also a minor and an aspiring singer invited Jane Doe number 7 to come to the defendant's apartment with her. The two minor females also came to the apartment with them. Oh, I'm sorry. Two other minor females also came to the apartment with them. Notably, when the minors arrived at the defendant's apartment, certain of the defendant's associates, including his tour manager, Demetrius Smith, were at the apartment. Inside the apartment, the defendant went inside a room and invited each of the minor females into the room ad seriatim until they were all inside. The defendant's associates remained outside the room. After Jane Doe number 7 entered the room, the defendant initiated and engaged in sexual intercourse with her. Jane Doe number 7 also saw the defendant engage in sexual contact with other minors inside the room. Thereafter, the defendant regularly invited Jane Doe number 7 and others minors to visit him at home and at his recording studio. In 1992, Jane Doe number 7 became part of a girl group that traveled with the defendant, providing background vocals and dancing. In parentheses, Jane Doe number 7 was still a minor and worked mainly as a background dancer. In this particular time, the defendant introduced Jane Doe number 7 to Jane Doe number 1, another minor and aspiring singer who the defendant began working with. The defendant indicated to Jane Doe number 1 that Jane Doe number 7 and other members of the girl group were to become Jane Doe number 1's posse and best friends. Subsequently, while traveling as backup dancer on tour with the defendant along with Jane Doe number 1 and others, Jane Doe number 7 observed the defendant engage in sexual contact with Jane Doe number 1 in a room at the back of his tour bus. Such evidence is necessary background for and inextricably intertwined with the evidence the court has permitted Jane Doe number 7 to testify about, namely her witnessing the defendant engaged in sexual contact with Jane Doe number 1. The full context of Jane Doe number 7's own interactions with the defendant, including her sexual interactions with him as a minor and having previously witnessed sexual acts between the defendant and other minors, is necessary to explain why she was in a position to witness the defendant engaged in a sexual act with Jane Doe number 1 as a minor. Without this context, the jury is likely to be left wondering why Jane Doe number 7, also a minor, was hired as a background dancer for the defendant's tour, and why the defendant was careless enough to engage in such sexual contact with Jane Doe number 1 on a tour bus where Jane Doe number 7 was present. I see what they're doing. There's a footnote here. It says, in addition, based on the trial thus far, the defendant undoubtedly intends to cross-examine Jane Doe number 7 regarding what she witnessed and to argue that she is fabricating her account of what she witnessed. Y'all there?
Yeah, I think they're
Okay.
trying to repeat.
I'm just checking.
Allegedly, Jane Doe number 1 mom said that she fabricated.
Yeah, the mom said she didn't know her and she was lying.
Yeah.
Okay, so goes on. The Second Circuit has repeatedly upheld the admission of uncharged act evidence as direct evidence of the charged crimes, where such evidence provides necessary background or context for the charged crimes. It goes on to list, precedent, case law, and I'm gonna just skip all that. But basically, there's other cases where this is a go. Okay. It says, in addition, the indictment does not allege a particular date on which the enterprise came into existence. that the sexual abuse of Jane Doe number 7 occurred in or about 1991, before the pattern of racketeering alleged in the indictment began, does not automatically render such evidence irrelevant, proving the existence of the racketeering enterprise. While the evidence used to prove a pattern of racketeering activity and the evidence establishing an enterprise may, in particular cases, coalesce, the existence of an enterprise is an element distinct from the pattern of racketeering activity. Yeah, I agree. It's separate. It's like it exists, and then they start doing crimes. It's two separate things, dates and stuff. Okay. Because the existence of racketeering enterprises is an element distinct of the pattern of racketeering activity charged in the indictment, evidence of acts occurring prior to the alleged pattern remain relevant to proving the existence of the enterprise. We're almost done. It's only a 5-page document. We're on page 4. Here, the sexual abuse of Jane Doe 7 is relevant to proving existence of the enterprise prior to the first racketeering act alleged in the indictment, its membership in the early days of its existence, and its means and methods, including relying on minor victims to recruit other minors into the defendant's orbit, a means and method that the jury also heard testimony about from Jane Doe number 4. Moreover, the defendant's cross-examination of Demetrius Smith makes clear that the defendant intends to argue that he had no involvement in Racketeering Act 1 and that Smith acted on his own in bribing a state official to obtain a fraudulent ID for Jane Doe number 1. In essence, arguing that Smith was not a member of the enterprise. Right, but she's saying he was there that whole time.
Yeah.
The defendant further made clear in his opening statement that he will argue that no racketeering enterprise existed. Jane Doe number 7's testimony about the circumstances of her own sexual abuse by the defendant and her continuing interactions with him is relevant to proving both the existence of the enterprise prior to the conduct alleged in Racketeering Act 1, as well as Smith's membership in the enterprise. Oh yeah, you ain't getting away, old slippery Demetrius now.
Right.
Indeed, such evidence, which is expected to include testimony that the defendant engaged in sexual contact with minors while in the same residence with Smith and other members of his inner circle, demonstrates the relationship of trust and loyalty between the defendant and Smith and helps explain why he would confide in Smith regarding the true nature of his relationship with Jane Doe number 1 and his need to marry Jane Doe number 1 as a minor. In addition to Jane Doe number 7's anticipated evidence is also relevant to establishing the existence of the enterprise. Not only was Jane Doe number 7 invited to the defendant's residence for the first time by another minor sexual abuse victim, the defendant also thereafter employed Jane Doe number 7 and other minors and instructed Jane Doe number 7 and other minors to act as Jane Doe number 1's posse while Jane Doe number 1 was away from her home and family, thus using those who he had previously abused and employed to create the conditions that helped make the defendant's sexual abuse of Jane Doe number 1 possible. Wow. Such evidence is direct evidence of the existence and evolution of the charged enterprise, as well as its means and methods. They are not fucking playing. I don't know who can sit around. Right. Listen. Okay, let me finish. As a result, for the reasons set forth herein and in its original motion and replies to the defendant's initial and supplemental response beliefs, the government respectfully requests that the court permit Jane Doe number 7 to testify about the circumstances of the defendant's sexual abuse of her when she was a minor. Come on, Judge Ann. Come on, you got to let this testimony in. You got to.
Yep.
Yeah, what do y'all think of this motion?
I pray that they let her testimony because her voice matters as well too. Like, don't exclude her out. She was abused too.
Yeah, I think that they just want to make sure they're dotting their I's and their T's. That basically we don't want her just to testify about seeing Jane Doe number 1, with the seeing R. Kelly have a sexual abuse, Jane Doe number 1, but we also need to tie in her own abuse as it speaks to why it's so important, and it outlines again this RICO, these patterns, these operations, So I think it's gonna get in. I'm pretty sure it's gonna get in.
I mean, it only makes sense, and what this does to me. I mean, who knew Jane Doe number 7 was a ringer like this, where she's going to establish the start of the enterprise separate from the beginnings of the activity, which is necessary. And I think that it's important that Judge Ann let this testimony fly because the jurors need to tie all of this stuff together.
Exactly.
And it's the truth. So
right.
And he had them girls in one room in that apartment that was above their record store. That's the apartment. That's the apartment. And for him to lock the babies up in that room and have his way with them.
He brought them in one by one, and she witnessed it. It was awful.
Yeah, it's.
I think this is collaborates with the first one that Jim Dare Goddess had brought up when she said she remembers coming up there and was in the corner. He kicked one of the girls in her shin and her leg because she was crying. He wanted her to be one of the other victims that was in the room, and she didn't want to do it. They kicked her in the leg and told her to stop acting like a baby.
Well, I know that Jane Doe number 7 is going to speak her truth. She's very compelling. She comes from a very good, honest place, and it's going to be good.
Absolutely. Yep. Yes, we must say in prayers for all of the people testifying. This takes a lot of strength.
Yes.
It does, because she's also been carrying the burden and the weight from when I seen the Lifetime series and then her own personal social media page. The guilt of she felt like she should have did more to protect Jane Doe number 1.
Well, she felt like what she said that none of it should have happened.
Yeah, none of it should have happened.
She said none of this should have happened. Yeah.
No, to none of them.
Right.
And, you know, when you realize what was done is wrong, and then to know what he carried on to repeat, and he got worse with his act, with the longer the years and more girls and boys that he came across.
Hey, Michelle Hurd, welcome back. Thank you. Yes, you finally made a live where I actually see you in here. Okay, Diva time. During the wedding, the preacher said on the stand that when went to marry Aaliyah, and R. Kelly said that it was R. Kelly, Aaliyah, and 3 members of his entourage, all men. Ugh, that just disgusts me to see this. To imagine this, to imagine it in my mind, like these men and this little girl. She was a little girl.
Yeah.
I don't care how mature or her mom called her sexy when she was 10, you know. Ugh. So with that said, that motion was recently filed. We're waiting to see what the judge is going to, conclude. What is she going to rule? There was another motion. The press submitted also. They are wanting to see all the evidence. Love Warrior brought this up to me today. I got the motion right here. I don't think it's worthy of reading. It's a 6-page. And basically, they included the previous motion from the press in this. So really it's just a couple pages. But yeah, basically they're just like, we need more. There's, we need more access.
Yeah, we want to see the evidence that is shown in court. We should have access to the evidence. You won't give us an audio. We can't go in there. So allow us to at least to see the evidence, because some of the evidence only the jury has seen.
It says regarding his medical records specifically.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they want to see that. There was 200 pages worth of medical records. I don't know that, being that it is medical records, is it something the press, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of tricky court, but at the same time, medical records, again, you get protection until you break the law. That's typically how things work. So with this, the law has clearly been broken. Medical records used, dictate, letting us know a corroborating testimony. So, I guess it does complete the story if you're writing a story about it.
Hey, Miss Julita.
Yes.
I wonder, will Earl testify because he witnessed him assaulting Jane Doe number 1 on the back of the tour bus with somebody putting duct tape over the vent.
Oh my God.
Shout out to Jim Day regardless. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I wonder will he testify that he saw the assault happen on the Sprinter too as well with Jane Doe number 1.
Who are you speaking about?
Earl had saw him assaulting Jane Doe number 1 on the back of the Sprinter when he said the other handler was putting duct tape over the vent on the
You
bus.
said Earl?
Yeah, Earl from Public Announcements seen
Oh,
him assaulting Jane Doe #1 on the bus.
so you're saying he eyewitnessed something and he spoke on it before?
Yeah, he told the authorities and the record label and everything too. When he took off, they said he left his belongings and everything. They just saw the back of his head, but he reported it as well, just like Mr. Lavelle Jones, and nobody did nothing.
Mm. You know, you guys, we've been talking about who's coming up next. And like we talked, I think it was sometime last week, which was fun, throwing out the names of people we thought were going to be testifying or who should be testifying. We've been hearing names mentioned during testimony, pictures, as well as the people's identities were being submitted as exhibits. So with that being said, I've been talking about this dang Instagram page for a minute now. There's a lot on here, but I want to talk about what they exposed here about Cheryl Mack. Cheryl Mack's name's been brought up a lot.
All right.
London on the track, mama. I hope he not a John Doe.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, he might be. We don't know.
He might be Beautiful Spirit because everything R. Kelly touched, he had to go to bed with. Yep.
It's been rumored that he was 14 when she volunteered his little button.
She probably did. And I wouldn't be surprised because he seems like he has issues with women based on what we hear about him and his baby's moms.
He
How
stayed
many
trauma.
do we have? Like 6 of them?
Yeah, he stayed trauma and everything and his own self issues.
So this Instagram page, it's been up since I think right after the docuseries, the 2019, February 2019. It was been spilling all kind of stuff about these enablers, and was going back and forth with Larry when he was on here as the pedophile assistant, trying to disprove some things he was putting out or to corroborate things. Also calling people out like Tasha K, and whoever this person is was very close in the knit. Now they left this page. When was that now? January of 2020, I think was the last post, somewhere around there, or May of 2020.
Yeah,
So
May of 2020.
Okay, it's been over a year since this person posted on here, but I was just curious about the fact that it was still up. But just like Tasha K's videos, maybe they leave the stuff up in case somebody comments or tries to DM the channel. You know what I'm saying? And maybe they want to make sure they collect every piece of information they can.
Right.
Well, this particular, there's a lot in this Instagram page, but I'm picking this particular thing out specifically for Cheryl Mack. It says, here's 5 pages from Cheryl's expose. I'm sure most people have already read it. And I know some of y'all may have, and I may have too. And I just don't remember because when it came out, it was along with lots of information that was coming out at the time. So it says Cheryl shared this with the Savages and they shared it with the world. It was emailed to me December 21st, 2016. In 2015, when Robert heard that Cheryl was writing a book, his exact words were, she can write a book, but she better not mention my motherfucking name, my MF name, okay? Damn. His attorney at the time also sent Cheryl a cease and desist. Now, was this Linda Minch?
Wow.
I will discuss Cheryl later today. Robert will also be discussed over the next couple of days. Side note, Tasha K has talked herself into the Fed's chair.
Wow.
Oh. Now they can discredit her lies and suggest she get a full refund from her bootleg PI. Well, damn. Okay. Okay, so, okay, this thing, let me make this a little bigger. Oh, shoot.
It's rumored that Kenny told Dryho how he follows her channel and he communicates with her, and some of the questions that he asked the victim that came from what she done said on her channel.
Yeah, she's a liar.
Did you see the close-up of Kennick's picture, child?
He girl.
Lord, I'm going to send it to Goddess because, child,
Let me tell you.
So this is a part of the 5-page expose that Cheryl Mack herself wrote, okay? Now, mind you, she quit. She left his employ. And when was this, 2018 that she left, or 17?
Oh, she one of the employees that left in 18 with the 2
She was with the mass exodus of the 3 or 4 that walked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as it goes, It says, during my term with Robert Kelly as friend and as employee, I witnessed sex, hostility, snatching, grabbing, groping, drugs, alcohol, and bipolar behavior, all from a man who could write a record better than he could spell his name.
Oh, see, can write.
Started out with
his ass off. He can write his ass.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I began my journey with Robert professionally in August 2005. Prior to that, there was just to Robert's studio was in 2005 with my artist Sherry Hawk, who now travels as background vocalist for Tamia. Robert invited Sherry and I to his Chocolate Factory studio located in the basement of his Olympia Fields, Illinois home. And it says in parentheses, foreclosed in 2013. We arrived there with the intent to play music and get direction. But we ended up there for days in the studio with Robert at his request, watching him create. So can you imagine going somewhere just for a little meeting? You want somebody to give you some direction on your music. You know, you're excited because it's a famous person. You end up being there for days.
Mm-hmm. He you know what? We done heard this, how he be having people waiting and there days and weeks at a time with just BS.
So it goes on. There were numerous girls of all ages in and out of the studio at all times. Some waited for hours and some came right in and were introduced and would ultimately disappear. There were many, all of them were very, very young. Sherry, in her early 30s at the time, didn't seem of interest to Robert, but he loved her voice and said he was very impressed with me as her manager and wanted to give her a shot at recording records for other projects. She recorded several records, and one of which was actually selected for his album Double Up. The album did very well. She did credits. We saw credits, but there was zero compensation. Okay?
We hear that all the time.
Say louder for the back of the people in the back. Now, this man did not pay people. So anybody out there who keeps saying, well, they did it for the money, maybe the money they earned, but like, seriously.
Well, you know, Woman's Threat was Sparkle's song, and she ain't got no money either. He never gave her the credit. He stole it.
It says Sherry was featured on the album singing a duet alongside Robert titled Having a Baby. Robert never possessed any further activity with Sherry after that and said he wasn't going to make the song a single. So Sherry lost interest and moved on with other supporting act opportunities with Brandy, Kelly Price, and ultimately made her home with Tamia. Sherry and I parted ways, and I continued my working relationship with Robert. During the early visits with Robert, I was introduced to his staff of engineers, and I became a staple piece. He referred to me as his sister. Here we go.
Yep.
Don't even know it, lady.
Always that family. Always those family connotations. He is weird.
Kelly Price and Sherry and I parted ways, and I continued my working relationship with Robert. Where's my sounds?
Damn her and her ass.
Wait, I need a sound. She should have did that. Okay. So she went over there with her artist and ended up losing her artist and ended up being stuck with this dude. Okay, so she said, I met Robert's kids on the first visit to his home. He seemed very close to the children, and this was during the alleged porn court case period. There was a very close relationship with Joanne, his oldest daughter, now 16. Joanne was around more than Jaya and Robert. Okay, so she's trying to say Joanne was around more than Jaya and Robert Jr. She was a dancer and always danced at Robert's request for his guests. It was uncomfortable. There was one late night party and Robert had her dancing on the pool table for his guests. In parentheses, there were older men present, mostly staff. This was awkward. He cheered her on. It seemed as if the guys were afraid to clap or even look at her. She was young and it was inappropriate. Ugh. It's disgusting.
And you notice how she said that child of his three was around him more than the other two.
And she always did this. It
Yes,
was
always had her dancing
always.
for his team, might as well say.
This all went on for a while. In
Mm.
2009, I began working with female artist Precious Way. Precious was 17, originally from Chicago and living in Atlanta at the time. Precious was very excited about me as her manager, and when I told her and her mother that I had a great relationship with Robert, they both wanted to meet him and showcase Precious' music. Now, mind you, he just got indicted around this time. He's indicted.
Right.
But yet I guess it don't come up in the music realm, right? So this is not no new story for us, because this is what we are hearing now about what's going on with these newer people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That was an easy task. I called Robert. I told him about Precious, and he invited her and her mom out to Olympia Fields. He was sure open and ready to be meeting new people all the time, wasn't he?
Guess what? Because her title was the go around line saying she was a manager, but she really was a recruiter.
A madam, yeah. Don't give recruiting that name. Listen to this. I covered the cost of the air and hotel for all of us. She paid for this. When we arrived in Chicago, we were invited to the home where there was a get together, and that's in quotes. There was a basketball game on the court at his home, and the bar was open on the lawn. Precious and her mom, who are both Chicago fans of Robert's, that never came even close to meeting him. It was beyond their wildest dreams. Robert was very cordial and respectful that night. We were his special guests. He seemed smitten with Precious. She was young, and this hadn't happened at this point in my presence during my stint with Robert. We were invited into his studio, and there we sat, listened to music, and shuffled through pictures from Precious's portfolio. Precious asked, and with Robert's approval, went to the bathroom down the hall while her mother and I waited in the studio. You know what happens with them bathroom visits.
Mm-hmm.
All right. During their absence, Robert faked a phone call. It says their absence. Robert faked a phone call, went to the bathroom, and escorted Precious into his theater room next door to the bathroom. Once her mother in the next room, child. I lost my place. Hold on.
He is such a sick. He is so sick.
Disgusting. Okay. So he escorts her into the theater room next to the bathroom. Once he had Precious in the theater room, he locked the door and began his sex act with her, it says. Now, he just met this girl, 17 years old. She's with her mother, aspiring artist. And this is what he does. First off, she was a virgin, scared out of her mind that if she didn't allow him to have sex with her, he would refuse her project and disappoint me in the end. In that room, they exchanged phone numbers, and when she returned to the room, she seemed nervous and disengaged. He appeared a few minutes later. We resumed as if sex trauma never happened. Because they didn't know. The mom didn't know, and this lady says she didn't know at the time. Yeah, it says her mother and I were totally in the dark of this happening. Precious and Robert became very close. They would talk for hours on the phone, and her mother and I were clueless. He told her not to tell me that they were talking offline. She was so afraid of Robert. This went on for months. Robert ultimately agreed to make this a chocolate factory project, and he allowed me to oversee the project. Precious took a firm liking to Robert. Robert would ultimately put Precious up in a hotel a little less than a mile from his home at the Country Inn Suites in Madison, Illinois. He would extend the room daily to keep her there. He over here paying day rates for this teenager. I am like...
He had other girls at the same hotel.
Let's see what y'all talking about. And this was before Geronda.
Yep.
My brother said yesterday to me that they're preparing to sue him, RCA Records Jive label, if he attempts to start his own label. Rumor has it. Start his own label?
How?
It's so bad that he never received the mental health care during his early
He
years.
refused it.
She was managing Precious way too. Yeah.
You know what? I don't believe her. I think she's try to disassociate herself to a certain amount of participation.
Well,
Trying
of
to.
course, I think so too. But she's
She knew
putting
that little girl
this is
what was
her
gonna
early.
happen.
This is her
Yeah,
early years with him. She's saying like she
but
didn't know then, but she found out, didn't she?
yeah, I think she knew what was gonna happen to that baby.
Well, let's
You keep the
continue.
mama occupied while I take her in the back.
Mm. It says Robert requested a writer for Precious to get her music going. He allowed me as her manager to oversee the project. I hired engineers and songwriters for the project. There were times, I guess she meant, when he would yell at Precious about what she would wear to the studio and she would cry out of fear. She said he would beat her at the end of the sessions. He would buy her costumes and make her dress up and videotape her. Costumes like what? Oh, here it goes. She was forced to wear high heels and tutus with hair bows and lollipops to complete the costume. The baby clothes, right?
Oh my
He's
God.
a sick fuck. He is a sick fuck. God.
Lord have mercy. See, didn't we call this about his child, about his own child?
Oh, child. It says, I scouted a writer from Atlanta in January of 2010. Her name is Venetia Andrews. And I remember Venetia Andrews. I think she's the girl who, no, that's not her. That's a different Venetia. Who was engaged to the game. Okay. Venetia was an aspiring writer. She was in love with Robert the first day she met him. He wanted to meet her without me. He said he wanted to do so because he needed to make sure if she was in it for Precious. This was also part of his scheme. He met with her alone, and after the first night, he called me and said, "You the shit." She was 19 at the time. Wow.
Meaning
Robert,
that she's a good recruiter.
oh yeah,
She
you did
a
your
good
job. Yeah,
Yeah,
you did a
you
good
bringing
job.
me some good little. Oh my God.
Keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. Robert began playing Precious and Venetia against each other. That's what he does.
Yep.
Until it got too much for Precious. See, Venetia was 19, Precious was 17. Venetia was trying to be a writer, so that with her mind and her words, she probably was cutting this little girl down. Robert had me overseeing the project and proposed a co-management arrangement with both the girls. He had me doing all the work, and he would come in at the end of every session to check the progress of the Venetia's writing and Precious vocals. I hired an engineer by the name of Dwayne. He was also a producer, and he was present for every session with the girls. Precious was very afraid of Robert. She would almost tear up when she knew he was on his way to the session. I began to fear what she feared. This went on for quite some time, and Robert ultimately stopped her sessions. By now, she was in a Hampton Inn hotel in Madison, Illinois. I was flying in and out of Chicago. The sporadic sessions didn't suit me from a cost perspective. She's paying for her own travel back and forth to Chicago while she keeps a 9-to-5, mind you, Cheryl. There was no money coming in. He wouldn't allow her to work out, leave her room, or even speak or see her mother. It really got out of control.
Where have we heard that over and over and over before?
Yes,
Pattern.
But you know what? He must have did something so horrific to that baby.
To have her so scared like that.
Because she had fear since the first encounter.
Well, yeah.
He beating her ass and no telling what he made her do sexually.
Yeah, and he beat her after the sessions. And she crying and shaking, just knowing that he on his way.
It says that. Go ahead.
This bitch steady bringing kids to him. She need to get locked up.
It says Precious' mother was fed up. Robert had by then forced Precious to have an abortion, beat her like a child. Mind you, she was a virgin when she met him. She probably got herpes too.
Yeah.
Forced her to have an abortion, beat her like a child, forced her to wear makeup to cover up her bruises, remain silent about it, stay in her hotel room, not speak to her family. She was scared. They hired attorney Susan Loggins. Here we go. Sued Robert.
Oh boy, when's she gonna testify?
Okay. Sued Robert a few weeks prior to his Africa date as opener of the World Cup. He called me in, put fear in me, told me that I needed to pick up a team, and he said that people get killed for being involved in this kind of thing. I fear for my life.
Threatening her life, basically.
Yes, absolutely. Robert had people around him that he threatened to handle me. If it got out of hand. So he used so his enterprise was there and aware of the fact that he was using them as threats to this woman. He forced me to visit his attorney, Ed Jensen. That's the attorney from the 2008 trial, who confessed on his deathbed that this man is guilty as hell.
Yep.
Where he prepared Jensen. He forced me to visit his attorney at Jensen, where he prepared Jensen. Okay, so he told the attorney what was going on. Ed was already prepared for my arrival. He had a series of questions. For every question, Ed prepared me for shakedown and other legal scare tactics that I didn't know. I was more afraid for my reputation in the industry and how things were playing out. Precious won her lawsuit against Robert, and the case is sealed. There's another lawsuit. The case was based on sex with an underage minor. And this is while he was indicted?
Wait a minute. I'm trying to understand it. She said that Robert told Jensen, got somebody coming to you. She go get escorted by his goons to Jensen. She said, well, Jensen went over a series of questions so she'd be ready for if they do a shakedown. I don't understand. So she didn't she couldn't have the little girl's back.
Yeah, no, she wanted her to. Yeah, he was trying to prepare her to stick up for Robert.
Testify
for him.
But the girl still won her case anyway.
Right, she won her case exactly. Shit. The case was based on. Okay, so there's video footage on file of Robert's multiple entrances into Precious' hotel room, collections of Robert's fingerprints and semen from her undergarments. And bed sheets, all collected and used in support of the case. Okay.
Wow.
Never had no case. Even though it was Susan Loggins, it must have been a civil case, but should have been a criminal case.
Yeah, they got all of that, sheets and fingerprints and shit.
Robert continued his life with Venetia and she lives as one of Robert's main girls. I recently moved all of Venetia's belongings from a condo at Buckhead Grand here in Atlanta. That was in her name, mind you, to the new guest house in Duluth, Georgia. In 2013 to 2014, Robert asked me to locate Precious, and I did. Why would you do that knowing y'all just lost this lawsuit? And you're going to go find this girl?
Yeah, she's complicit there. She should have never did that.
She should have never done that. He offered her a visit to Atlanta. She accepted. I arranged the visit and they picked up where they left off. Oh my God. He is a glutton for punishment himself, for putting himself yet again. He just lost. Very glad he didn't go to jail. And I
can't even get it out. Oh my goodness.
He doesn't give a shit about the law or anything. All he cares about is the sex. He don't give a shit about the money. He don't give a shit about nothing, just sex.
And he remember all of his victims.
Precious revealed that at that time, she was still in love with Robert, and her life was so damaged that she didn't even know how to function with other men after being in that scary relationship with him. Poor thing. I made the contact with Precious for Robert because I was afraid not to. So you should have took the fucking hit. You know what I'm saying? He would have forced.
Because basically she was responsible for the first initial meeting anyway. So this was a time that you could have absolved yourself by doing the right thing, and you didn't.
I don't know about absolve, but at least she could have been a fucking human being, a decent human being, and stood up this time.
Right.
And as a mother and a woman.
So it goes on. He would have forced her to take her clothes off after he completely undressed in front of me. Okay, wait. He would have forced her to take her clothes off after he completely undressed in front of me and forced her to have sex with him with me sitting there while she cried doing so.
Oh my God.
He raped
Oh
her.
my God. And she's crying the whole time. He appeared happy and smoked a cigar afterwards, told her that if she wanted to be an artist, that she had to learn how to be free and not so timid. Now, and the only reason I'm sure she did go is because she's hanging on to this dream. She's a talented singer. She wants this so bad. Like, people don't understand, like, this has a hold on people in a sense. It's sad, but like it says, she was humiliated and ultimately realized that he hadn't changed. She told me later that he continued to hit her and yell and force her to do things sexually that she would never do, like finger him anally and speak of her finger as a penis and ask him if he liked it. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
With Geronda Payton.
And the girl in the video we watched that said she had just met his ass and he wanted her to toot it up his booty.
Yep, with her long fingernails.
Yes. Oh yeah. She said that was his most satisfying moments with her sexually. In November 2013, after Robert decided to make Atlanta a second home, I began to work with both he and Divine on their joint venture of businesses. The goal was several companies that included a record label. Robert and Divine agreed on company splits and things were in motion. I had no clue that Robert's plan was skewed. He told me on a Sprinter ride that Divine had what he wanted, charisma, and that was something that he didn't possess. Let me see. Dang, that's a lot. Naturally. He then began his Atlanta mission. He needed an attorney to draft the documents for the business, and he specifically wanted a Chicago lawyer. I scouted a few, and after recommendation from his A&R rep at Sony RCA, Wayne Williams, Linda Minch was the candidate hired for the job. R.I.P. Linda Minch.
There she is.
I reached out to Linda personally, set up an appointment in LA, and after meeting with her, I scheduled a meeting with Robert. We all sat down. He liked what he heard, and we ultimately hired Linda on the spot. Robert introduced me to Linda as his longtime assistant and advised her to do everything through me. I spent months ramping Linda on the various processes and procedures of the Kelly business. I spent countless hours during the day working alongside Linda, phasing her in while phasing out Gerald Blackie Jones and Daryl McDavid, former business managers. And we've heard their names plenty during the trial. Somebody popped in? Okay.
Yeah, I got kicked out. I was asking, was Divine a man or a woman?
I'm thinking it's a man.
Thinking
that they're doing business together, and that he said Divine had what he wanted, charisma, and that's something he didn't possess naturally. Okay, so he got hired Linda Minch and replaced Gerald Blackie Jones and Daryl McDavid.
So he got a hold of Minch.
Yes, Linda never wanted to get involved with Robert's personal business, but there was no way around it. She knew of his past and always suggested to me that we should find a comparable mate. Ha! Wow.
Like that would stop him from his shit.
Right. Linda and I needed help as the business was starting to grow. It says, I named the company. It says somebody named the company, hired Linda, hired a bookkeeper, I guess her, a friend of Linda's, hired a stylist, a friend of mine. So I wonder if that's Cash Howard.
I believe so.
Right. I think so.
Yeah.
Robert ultimately played all of us against each other, Divine included, in order to justify not paying any of us except Linda. Linda ultimately paid herself. Oh, and that goes to you. Didn't you say she took some money from a settlement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
She paid
Yep.
herself.
Yep.
She said, "You forgot what I'm sitting on, nigga. I'll be the IRS."
She held so many secrets. It's just eerie about her death. I'm telling you, but it's eerie.
Cheryl Mack better be careful.
It says, carve my and Jones' salary as the business management team salary, thus the 10K. I missed something. Must have missed something. The salary was not in place until 2014. Up until that time, I was basically working for free, hiring and building the company RSK. Robert received $2 million from a tour booked by Divine and never offered Divine or myself a dime. Maybe I don't know what Divine. I have the bank statement of incoming cash and outgoing expenses. That's messed up. She should have invoiced his ass and then took his ass.
Yeah. $2 million
McDavid
and can't pay your business manager not one fucking thing, and she's doing all this on her own dime. Yeah, she was foolish in that, but he doesn't ever want to pay anybody. That's all karma on his ass right now.
That's what Daryl McDavid did. He did the basically, seeing that sued. You seen how he sued him, got fired, hired back, and a raise.
Yep. It says that when things started to become more structured, Robert began to change his attitude towards Divine and I. He began playing us against each other. He would call me and yell at me over the phone and in person for having conversations with Divine or being cordial with him. He wanted me to believe that Divine was trying to be the artist and that he wasn't really in it for him. Things got out of control. I went through the process of hiring a stylist. The first stylist that I brought in for an interview, he wanted her phone number and wanted to hire the second candidate for work. He wanted to, you know what he wanted to do.
Right.
During this time, he was proposing nights with my 22-year-old niece and my best friend in her 30s. Oh, Lord. You should know not to bring nobody around him by now. Why are you even with him? Still?
Right. This woman that witnessed a rape. Then she see the lawyer is crooked. Now her and the lawyer came up with, she helped come up with the enterprise.
Says that, during this time, he was proposing nights with my 22-year-old niece and my best friend in her 30s. He was very aggressive with my niece, asked me to have her send pictures to his phone and call him, come by the studio, etc. She refused to do so. Ooh, shout out to her niece for that.
Yes.
She never did. My best friend has zero interest, and though that it was very disrespectful, I guess it's supposed to be, that it was very disrespectful. Robert began asking me to invite girls to the gym where he played basketball. My friends never wanted to come. They actually thought he was disgusting and were intimidated with his aggressive behavior off the court. Sounds like her friend.
Stinky ass.
Yeah.
And his stinky ass around there stinking.
The stylist ultimately hired for the job, Cash Howard, was harassed by Robert. There she is. She said on numerous occasions that he asked for her for pictures and to not be afraid to be a little girl for daddy. Every girl calls him daddy. It was embarrassing. I hired her and it became a styling game of weed smoking and heavy use of alcohol. And then ultimately he began to play us against each other, as he does. I never saw Cash and Robert intimate. I saw text messages and she often spoke of their sexual phone conversations. She told me that he forced her to watch him have sex with his regular girls, Juice and Vonisha. This went on a few times in the lounge at Divine's house. Robert's employee, Uncle Junebug, was very rude to me after he saw Robert yell and curse me out. Robert would say, "You're very smart, but you do stupid stuff." For example, if the guests would fly in at noon and arrive at their hotel and couldn't check in till 3, he would yell and curse at me and call me stupid and blame me for the hotel rules. This would happen if flights were delayed, if drivers weren't present at the carousel, if the Uber driver was a male and not a female. He would yell at me and curse me out in front of Junebug and Junebug. Oh, shoot. I lost my page. Hold on. Okay. And where'd it go? Is it gone?
Yeah.
I hit something on accident. Oh, dang. And Junebug. So y'all look like y'all read this.
I didn't.
I've read it before in the past. It's been a while though.
I haven't
forgot.
heard none of this shit. I ain't heard none of this.
I read it and forgot. That was
Right.
called R. Kelly. I
When I
remember.
said, y'all, my mouth to the floor. My mouth is to the floor.
I don't know how I did that. Okay, let me find it again.
I can't get over this wank. She works in dry hole. I hope London on the Track spending all his quality time with his mother because I think she's gonna do some prison time.
I hope so. She got everybody. This person has everybody in here. Summer, another Clary member who I'm not gonna mention, but I mean, where is that one at?
She might have gotten immunity, beautiful spirit, to testify.
Robert and his current girls. I done lost the dang thing now.
You'll probably be still working for the record label, recruiting more little girls for the next pedophile artist. Telling him that she got a R. Kelly resume. She can do the job.
This is a juicy account, y'all.
The sister need to be putting her whole whatever size shoe she wear up her sister rear end for even fathoming the thought of trying to fork over her niece to that mom. After this came out, the sister should have been kicked, putting her whole foot up her rear end.
Okay. All the way.
And then put her foot up the mama butt for having her. And put the foot up her mama butt for having her.
Cheryl actually has been very quiet since after this letter. You all notice, like a lot of them that are very close to the enterprise that could be arrested and stuff have been very, very quiet. I think we'll be seeing them. I think we'll be seeing them on the stand.
If she didn't get immunity, she still needs to be careful because when she made a statement about her and Linda Mitch hired people and came up with this game plan, that means they the ones that was the beginners of the enterprise.
Right.
And if Linda Mitch is no longer here anymore to defend and talk and speak her testimony, that means she on the hit list too. Because you know her and Linda Mitch must have really had some damaging evidence.
Of course, everything was in her name. She procured precious wave bead, all that. She's got all that.
Yeah. Coming up with the fake record label and stuff so they gotta go out and bring little girls. Linda Mitch coming up with the fake NDA and all this and incriminating
all the hotel reservations
and the
all
falsified letters. Yeah, Linda Mitch came up with that game. Help they both. Oh, child.
All right, I found this thing. Let me get through this little thing here. We were talking about Junebug, right? How he was rude. Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Junebug saw her get cursed out, and after that, decided to treat her like shit too.
Right.
And it said that she got blamed for everything, and that Junebug ultimately began to yell and curse at her like Robert did. Son of a bitch.
And he the one that was sleeping up underneath Terrence Allen's feet on the floorboard of the Sprinter on the days he was punished. Ain't that about to be?
Says they would have me running through crowds at shows to make sure the guests were always in his view at concerts and not near each other. He left the stage at a show once and cursed me out because one of the guests moved from one side to the stage to the other, and he saw them close to each other. He said it was my fault, ? He did this in front of the staff. Junebug had me scared to do my job. He would make me feel as though I didn't work for Mr. Kelly, as he would call him, more so that I worked for him. Robert would make Junebug the boss of everyone and still say, only do what I tell you to do. It was very confusing, hostile environment. Okay, where's Uncle Junebug at?
Right. We need
Oh,
Uncle Junebug ass
you
on
know
that
what?
stand
How in
and
the hell
jail.
you got a job? You got to schedule all these damn young girls in, keep them all separated on the stage to see him. You run around like a damn chicken with your head cut off, and you don't even get paid. Like this shit is
Okay.
crazy as hell.
That's why she was there out of her goodness of her evil heart.
She was in it for her own interest. She wanted something out of it, and she didn't get it. Instead, she helped ruin lives, including her
Yeah.
own, probably.
Yep. Her own family. I believe it. She fucked over her son. She sure did. The niece didn't work out. The best friend didn't work out.
Because mind you, it was them that decided not to do it. She wasn't telling them not to do it. They were telling her, "Not, I'm not going to do it." She
Yeah,
still
he's
was trying to get
stinking.
them to do it.
Yeah, she still is trying to. Oh,
What kind of friend are you and auntie are you?
and bring her and Mitch got to bring girls to the basketball games and shit. No.
So this goes on. More girls became a priority as Raniere Clary, an aspiring artist from Orlando, Joycelyn Savage, an aspiring artist from Atlanta, Judia Johnson, an aspiring model from Atlanta, Christy K.L. Lee, an aspiring artist from Texas, and others were all Robert's new teenage girls that I was constantly moving around, booking air, ground, and hotel, all with debit card in my name as from his personal Robert S. Kelly SunTrust bank account.
What was the names again?
And the feds got all those records. Remember on the Discovery, they got all that.
Yes, they do. The names are, of course, Raniere Clary, Joycelyn Savage, Judia Johnson,
Oh,
Christy K.L. Lee, or the other names. These girls were so young and not travel savvy, it was very difficult creatively moving them around. Robert never cared about the process or the cost. He wanted me to make sure they got to him as he would request.
That's what we talking about. He'll pay out the ass to get that young girls to him, but wouldn't pay his employees and wouldn't want to pay just obvious costs, you know?
he
Right.
literally was just making F money. That's all he was doing. He was working to make F money so he can F.
It says it was during a show date in Connecticut that everything took a turn for the worst. Robert would ask me to bring Joycelyn Savage, Raniere Clary, Christy Lee, and have them all stay on casino property and take turns coming to the shows.
Connecticut.
Yes.
That's the handler in Connecticut in the superseded indictment and traveled to California and picked up another baby.
At the final show, Robert asked me to get Raniere to him from the front of the stage to his dressing room. I escorted her back and left the room. He yelled for me an hour later as if something was wrong. I walked into the room and sat next to them both. He was laying on a huge ottoman and she was sitting next to him. They were discussing the show, and moments later, she leaned over and started giving him oral sex in front of me. It was disgusting. She's only 17. It was in that moment that I made a conscious decision to end this road. It didn't feel right hearing him moan to the enjoyment of a child giving him oral sex. He would always have her in the room straddling him in front of everyone. He thought it was sexy to do that.
So she's the worker that said she every time she turned around, he had that poor baby giving him oral sex and always had to recruit the workers to come watch and say, "Hey, she's sexy, y'all."
Which is corroborating, Jane Doe's story.
Yeah.
It says, I was harassed later by Junebug, Linda, and Joan, and the new tour manager, KG. They found issues with everything that I did after I had them ramped and comfortable in their seats. I was the biggest threat to everyone because I 100% had Robert's entire life in my hands. Even Robert thought that was too much control. They started playing alongside Robert with being rude. He did so much of the playing everyone against each other that he forgot that I had 4 condos in my name for him and his guests for the first year. I put 2 houses and every single utility in my name for him and his guests. Oh, for him, it says. Why? These things went unnoticed, but still remain open items during the time that he wasn't paying me because he felt A, I was being paid too much, and B, because Linda and the bookkeeper, Joan, had convinced him that I was improperly handling show dates and not negotiating bonuses, so money was being left on the table.
What?
Linda, Joan, and KG somehow figured out how to convince Robert that Divine and I no longer made sense. So they defamed our names, and Robert cut my salary, made me pay for Linda's mistakes, and ultimately played me against one of his friends who booked club dates for him. This guy, Reese McKinney, would pay me out of his commission from events and, for helping him on his side of the business. Robert saw that as double dipping. The 200 or 300 here and there just somehow didn't sit well with him. He was then convinced that I was showing favoritism to some of the agents after I delivered on his request to close the dates for his friends that brought in an excess of 1.3 million in show dates. Robert has a strong pattern of creating fear to not pay his debt to anyone. I would always get his approval on extremely costly flights and upscale hotels, but push back when I would ask for my own pay, all while I was renting condos, homes, and covering utilities all in my name. I was disparaged by Linda, Joan, and KG. Robert ultimately lowered my responsibilities to focusing only on his guests and the homes, and it was grueling. Let me see. I think we should be done. Let me see.
I think she had a storage unit in her name too, with laptops and devices with that.
So that was 5 pages of her expose. I don't know how many pages the whole thing was.
Yeah, because I don't think it ends there. Yeah.
Y'all still here, huh? I just came over to the actual.
This don't make no sense.
Hazel, well, I guess the story about Jane Doe number 1 was true, and no, I'm not talking about the tour bus story. That this one was a whole different story. Mm-hmm. That proves the trafficking. Mm-hmm.
And the Mann Act. Yep.
I thought June was facing charges. Now, I don't think that's Uncle Junebug, the one that's also a co-defendant.
It's June Brown.
Yes, it's not. It's a younger June. I think Uncle Junebug is an older man.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, they said 60-something at the time.
Yep. Michelle Ryder said, sounds like an enterprise to me. Hey, Neek 3T and Michelle Ryder. What's going on?
Yes. I mean, and this attorney, and then the other 2 young girls, I wonder where they at. You know what? Them might have been the 2 young girls that was getting smuggled out of that studio, y'all.
Oh, Divine. Now you spell it regularly. I know. I read about him. He was one of the people when I was doing my little research about the people working with him and stuff. Yeah. Right. He was the one. Divine. Okay. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Yeah, Cheryl. That was Cheryl Mack, y'all, who I was reading that from on Instagram, R. Kelly Saga. You can look Instagram page. Wow. Like, yeah, it was definitely disturbing and hard to read. I'm sure listen to also, especially part about Israel. Like, this man is just sick. Like, I don't even know how else to describe it, but I do want to just let y'all know. I know you guys heard about that Nexium case where the sex cult and the leader Keith Raniere.
Yeah, that branded all his women. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So if Joycelyn is still with a handler, them other 2 girls probably still with a handler too, huh?
Well, remember somebody said they all left right before, except for her and Joycelyn. Remember, I forgot who testified to say that they left. Everyone else left, but them 2.
Okay.
So I don't know, got all that money to pay for all them homes no more.
Exactly.
Apartments, hotels. Yeah.
Well, she had that out of her own pocket, so we don't know how many of them she kept up. The house, she probably got the one housing Joycelyn.
We're not going to know this till it comes out. We're waiting to hear from Joycelyn, actually, right?
I pray that we hear from her. She's alive and well. And if Cheryl Mack, you got anything to do with it, you better hope them streets don't get a hold of you.
Yep.
I wouldn't want her to be the grandmother of my child. Summer Walker need to go run the other way to the other side of the
Oh,
world.
speaking of that, I was reading just recently. Was that today? They going
Yes,
the baby
today.
mamas was going back and forth, and then one of them was like, your child is with a stranger. Like,
Mm.
I have your child, and she said she won't come get her. It's been 3 days, child.
Mm.
She said the grandmama was told not to leave her there.
What?
She's probably better off not being with Cheryl Mack.
Right.
Okay, so Keith Raniere. Okay, you guys should have heard about this big deal, big case, sex trafficking. So this is racketeering. I think it's sex trafficking, or if it's not trafficking, it's some same sexual crimes similar to R. Kelly. Like this case, literally just about mirrors R. Kelly. Yeah. So found guilty last year of sex trafficking, racketeering, fraud, and other crimes. I want to talk about Keith Raniere. I knew about this, The Vow, which is a documentary series or something about this case. I was watching it, and then I ended up losing it. My DVR got wiped out clean, and I forgot the stuff that I had on there. But this was one of them. Shout out to my sub, Pendleton. She was texting me about it. Like, did you watch this? Like, this so eerily similar to R. Kelly, and I had totally kind of just forgot, but I decided to look him up again to remind myself. Now, this man got already sentenced to 120 years in prison. 120 years, all charges. He was convicted guilty of all charges. So I want to read a little bit about this man because people need to understand, because they want to poo-poo these witnesses. Oh, this is his sex life. This is just personal stuff they're complaining about. So what? He's kinky. No. And reading what I did about Keith Raniere, seems like his case was, what did she call? She called him a choir boy. Seemed like Keith Raniere was a choir boy compared to R. Kelly.
Yes.
So
Catherine
Keith Raniere,
Onyxburg, the one that used to play on Dynasty.
in the article.
I was gonna say her daughter was in the cult. Yeah.
In the article. Okay. Keith Raniere, I know y'all want to look. You want to what is it called? You want to say the punchline for the joke? Go ahead.
No, I didn't know it was in the article.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go through this article real quick because we want to. So I need people to understand. R. Kelly, there's still people out here saying, I see it in different chat comments. Different people are saying it on their videos and lives. There's no evidence. There's only testimony. False. There's this is all hearsay. This is illegal. What did they say now? Because of Tasha K, there's the thing they're saying he's gonna get off on a mistrial. None of that has to do with this stuff. The jury, like somebody mentioned, is already sequestered. They're not going to see any of this stuff. Now, unfortunately, they may have seen some of those videos that she did. They claim they got picked to be on the jury based on answering questions. So however reason they got there, they're there now. And so whatever this stuff is coming out now is not going to affect them or the trial. So this article is, Keith Raniere promised a path to happiness, seducing wealthy people who they felt lacked a higher purpose in life. His company, Anthem, offered self-improvement workshops that became popular in Hollywood and business circles. Now, as you see, the difference here, they're dealing with wealthy people, probably white people here, right? So that's what I'm waiting to see how this thing gets handled, because it should be handled on the same level. It says, but beneath the surface, Mr. Raniere was a puppet master controlling a cult-like criminal enterprise. Prosecutors revealed at his trial. Some women in Nexium were sexually abused by Mr. Raniere and even branded with his initials in a secret ceremony, which they had on video. Yes, they did. On Tuesday, Mr. Raniere, 60, was sentenced to 120 years in prison for sex trafficking and other crimes, effectively a life sentence. The judge also ordered him to pay $1.75 million fine. The sentencing capped a remarkable downfall for a man who was once idolized by his followers, but has since been exposed as a fraudster who exploited Nexium's adherents for money, sex, and power. They're talking about his judge, Nicholas Garofas of Federal District Court in Brooklyn. Yeah, in Brooklyn, baby. Determined the punishment after hearing hours of wrenching testimony from 15 victims, many of whom described how Mr. Raniere had left them traumatized and brainwashed from his pseudoscientific teachings. Mr. Raniere's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, said he would appeal the sentence. I salute the people who came in and spoke, he said. Now, I'm drawing these comparisons to R. Kelly because people think this is a game. They think this R. Kelly case is cotton balls and cotton candy. But that's not the case. And when you read the comparisons to this trial where this man was convicted 120 years, then you should be looking at this case a little more seriously and stop over there rejoicing and giving these people false hope who support him. It says the first.
You're right, Goddess. You're right, yes. Goddess. Because the comparison, because they are white and have money, does not excuse the behavior of R. Kelly. Absolutely not.
Right, and he got a harsh sentence, I think, because of his victims being rich, white, mostly women, or I think all women, I'm not sure. It says the first to speak was a woman identified only as Camilla, who in a trembling voice recalled that Mr. Raniere started sexually abusing her when she was 15 and he was 45. She had previously declined to cooperate with prosecutors on the advice of a lawyer who was recommended to her by Mr. Raniere's counsel. During their 12-year relationship, Camilla said that Mr. Raniere expected her to be available for sex at all hours. He ordered her to weigh less than 100 pounds and directed her to get an abortion. She said she attempted suicide once. She said, I wanted to move on, but he has damaged me in so many ways. When he wanted to replace Camilla, prosecutors have said he directed his inner circle to find another young virgin successor for him. Camilla's mother, brother, and a sister also spoke on Tuesday, telling the judge that Mr. Raniere destroyed their once close-knit family. Sounds familiar, right? The father and the oldest daughter in the family, who had a child with Mr. Raniere, okay, you hear this? The oldest daughter had a child with him, are still supporters. They're still supporters, y'all.
Sound familiar.
Mr. Raniere had a sexual relationship with all three sisters in the family. But they still support him. But guess what? It didn't stop him from getting sentenced to 120 years. Guilty on all charges.
Yes.
Guilty.
In a speech before the court, Mr. Raniere, wearing blue prisoner clothes, maintained his innocence and says some of his victims were lying. Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
He said he was deeply sorry, arguing that he did not mean to cause so much pain and anger. Where I am is caused by me, Mr. Raniere said. This is all my doing. As Mr. Raniere waffled between apologizing and blaming the women, one of his victims and ex-girlfriends, Tony Natalie, buried her head in her hands. After the victim's statements, Mr. Raniere's lawyer, Mr. Agnifilo, argued that his client never intended to hurt any women, saying that he was in love with them and simply had trouble dealing with breakups. That is ridiculous. In a stunning moment, Judge Garufis, I always have a problem with this. Judge Garufis interrupted Mr. Agnifilo in the middle of his speech, yelling, "No!" This is the judge. Judge interrupted this creep. He said, "No." During a back and forth in which two men shouted through face masks, one of them being the judge spoke forcefully about how intent did not matter when a 45-year-old man sexually abuses a child. Shout out to the judge. It doesn't matter. Your intent doesn't matter.
That's right.
Quote, "It's an insult to the intelligence of anyone who listens," the judge said. Do you hear this? R. Kelly ain't getting away with this. I know this is not his judge, and I know this judge is not in his jury. However, common sense, people. Mr. Agnifilo did seem to acknowledge tensions with his client, saying that he had refused to file a motion claiming evidence tampering by the government, even though Mr. Raniere asked him to. So here's Mr. Raniere saying, file a motion that the government tampered with my case. Y'all don't think R. Kelly defense team is going to use this Tasha K thing to try to get him off?
Right.
Mr. Raniere tried it, and it wasn't even as public. I don't know what. It was an accident. He said, in recent months, Mr. Raniere has spearheaded a campaign to overturn his conviction, directing his supporters to create a podcast about his case and set up a contest to find errors in his prosecution in exchange for a $25,000 cash prize.
Crazy.
Do they have YouTubers like how they do in R. Kelly sector for this man, fighting against each other and all that? I wonder. Another victim, India Oxenberg, here we go. Here's your girl. Told the court that Mr. Raniere tried to poison her relationship with her mother, the actress Catherine Oxenberg, whose efforts to extricate her daughter from the organization were part of a recent HBO documentary series about NXIVM called The Vow. So Catherine Oxenberg, if y'all remember, what was she on? Dallas? What do we know her from?
Dynasty.
I knew it was one of them things. She was young then, I remember. India Oxenberg said Mr. Raniere expected her to wait naked for him like a piece of meat. She became so thin under his manipulation that she stopped getting her period, she said. You are a sexual predator and you raped me, India Oxenberg said. YouTube. When you touched me, I recoiled. Former NXIVM members said Mr. Raniere preyed on insecure people who hoped that immersing themselves in expensive self-help classes would unlock the key to fulfillment. Even highly educated people became trapped inside Mr. Raniere's system, which he sold as the only way to overcome their fears, shaming anyone who tried to quit. See, now, if this was R. Kelly and the people who support him, they would be like, oh, well, he was providing them a service. What was the problem? Like, they would not, this man got convicted, 120 years, he got sentenced. Okay, at Mr. Raniere's trial, a primary focus was a secretive women's only group inside NXIVM. During a videotaped initiation ceremony, the women lay naked on a table saying, "Master, please brand me," as a cauterizing pen seared their skin without anesthesia. There's a picture of it. I think it's down here. Some of those women
saw it. It was horrible.
It looks
painful.
like
a cattle prong. It was horrible.
Mm-hmm. Some of those women testified that they thought they were joining a women's mentorship group, only to discover they were directed to have sex with Mr. Raniere. The women referred to as slaves were regularly required to hand over collateral like sexually explicit videos, which they constantly feared would be released. Prosecutors called it extortion. Sound familiar?
Yep.
I mean, it's a playbook. On Tuesday, a former slave identified only as Nicole told the judge that the collateral was the only thing stopping her from spitting in Mr. Raniere's face during her time in the group, which she described as the most degrading experience in her life. I had never agreed to give up the right to my body, she said. A jury convicted Mr. Raniere in June 2019 so he got convicted June 2019 after a 6-week trial. When did R. Kelly get arrested? July 2019, right?
Yep.
Right after this. Do you think they waiting on this? I think they waited on this to wrap up. This was in Brooklyn too. It wasn't Judge Ann, but I'm just saying. They probably was using all the resources. They probably were sharing resources. R. Kelly. Let's get him next. Besides sex trafficking, the jury found him guilty of crimes that included racketeering and child pornography. To this day, Mr. Raniere has many supporters who insist that every activity in NXIVM was among consenting adults. Sound familiar? Dozens wrote letters to the court urging leniency. His supporters flocked to Brooklyn on Tuesday, waiting hours in line to enter the courthouse. There was a tense atmosphere before the sentencing. Mr. Raniere's loyalists would approach victims or other lawyers involved in the case who tried to dodge them. Wow.
I'm sorry. That's
crazy.
That's crazy.
NXIVM was funded in large part by an heiress to the Seagram's liquor fortune, Claire Bronfman, who spent more than $100 million of her inheritance to sue Mr. Raniere's enemies and support the organization. Oh my God. One of NXIVM's, I hope y'all ain't drinking no Seagrams out there. One of NXIVM's top recruiters was Allison Mack, the former television actress known for her role on Smallville, whose glowing testimonials helped bring Hollywood celebrities into the organization. The Dalai Lama once spoke at an NXIVM event. Mr. Raniere was charged along with 5 women in his inner circle, including Miss Bronfman and Miss Mack. Oh, he had a Miss Mack too. Each of them pleaded guilty ahead of his trial. You hear that? Mm-hmm. He had an enterprise too. Miss Bronfman was sentenced last month to more than 6 years in prison for her role in NXIVM. The others do not have sentencing dates yet. Mr. Raniere never married. He had long-term relationships simultaneously with multiple women. NXIVM's current curriculum taught that women were to be monogamous while men were to be polygamous. He fathered children with 2 women, including Kristen Keith, who spoke at his sentencing and said he had never paid child support for their teenage son. Ms. Keith said that even though she was hired as an employee in NXIVM's legal affairs department, the irony, Mr. Raniere commanded sexual obedience from her. She and other victims said NXIVM's leaders told them not to seek professional medical help because Mr. Raniere knew better than doctors. Since Mr. Raniere created NXIVM in 1998, around 18,000 people have taken its courses in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. The group sales pitch named that Mr. Raniere was a genius with one of the highest IQ scores in the world. In reality, prosecutors have said he graduated with a 2.26 grade point average from Rensselaer Polytech Institute in Troy, New York. A fraud. Are y'all there? Because I can't see over there.
Yeah.
Okay. This thing goes on. Most NXIVM members never had a sexual relationship with Mr. Raniere, but they did face pressure to pay for more and more classes, sometimes taking on debt to do so. One couple estimated they spent $300,000 on NXIVM courses and were forced to declare bankruptcy. So I want to point out that they says most of the members never had a sexual relationship with him. Yet he got 120 years, y'all. 120 years for the victims that he did have. Because there are people who didn't in R. Kelly's case. Well, not many. I mean, he didn't let too many people slide without getting poked. But it says NXIVM defectors said it was not easy as it seemed to leave the group. Many participants took some workshops and moved on, but others had quit their careers and moved to the company's headquarters near Albany, New York, where they were isolated and more susceptible to Raniere's influence. The ones who became NXIVM coaches depended on the organization for income. Some were Mexican immigrants who needed NXIVM for their legal status in the United States. Wow. And they had seen what happened to critics of NXIVM who were targeted by private investigators and hit with endless lawsuits. Now, mind you, if R. Kelly had the money, we might not be sitting here with this trial going on today because he would have been doing the same type of stuff, right? And it didn't stop him from getting 120 years either. Miss Bronfman had even convinced the authorities to initiate criminal investigations against some of them. Wait, what? So she was arrested herself. She convinced authorities to initiate the criminal investigation. She's like, please help save us. Just arrest us. Just get us away from this man. That's crazy. When the authorities finally arrested Mr. Raniere in 2018, he was at a luxury villa near Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, hiding in a closet. He was living with several women from NXIVM.
In the closet.
In the closet. That closet has a lot of significance, doesn't it? As he was placed in the back of a police car and zipped away, the women chased after him. Oh, that was it. Let's see. They have a correction. Because of an editing error, an earlier version of this article misstated the age of Keith Raniere on September 18, 2005. He was 45, not 46. Okay. So, with respect to Alice and Mack, child. They're very similar cases. Very similar. And they didn't have Raniere under RICO, from what I can tell. But they didn't need RICO to get him. I think the RICO charge is more of a sealant for him to, it's like the glue putting all of this stuff together under his umbrella of criminal, enterprising. Ronnie Lyles. I tried to get others to cover Epstein as well, but was told this channel is about Kelly. I just felt both. Yeah, they're very similar. All of these cases are very similar. And that actually brings me to Giselle Mack's, what's her name? Maxwell.
Maxwell.
This
Yeah,
Lane.
Giselle Maxwell.
Sorry. Yeah, let me pull up that article. I had another thing to bring up on her real quick while we're at it.
All these coats want to keep them malnourished, don't want to feed them, like number 6, branding them and all this other stuff, and bribery, extortion.
Yeah, there was a story about her and how the judge ruled to well, let me find it real quick. The judge basically had ruled to let the names be known of her co-conspirators, because it said the judge didn't want her to be blindsided, and I'm thinking it was going to be made public. So that's going to tell us who the other players are. They're saying Prince Andrew is going to be named, could be named an unindicted conspirator. Here, let me pull this up.
Thanks, Philip, too.
Yeah. Didn't Prince Philip pass? No. One of them I thought had
I think
passed.
the dad or somebody.
Okay. In late November, the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell will begin in a New York courtroom, and prosecutors have promised to disclose a very exhaustive list of unindicted co-conspirators. Sounds familiar? Uncharged acts. We have people who are unindicted, but they're co-conspirators. They're not indicted because they're talking, baby. It says those alleged to have worked with or benefited from her and Jeffrey Epstein global sex trafficking ring. And it's likely, if the evidence prosecutors uncovered during its investigation was presented before a grand jury and deemed within the public's right to know, that Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, is, if found to have done something illegal, could be named as an unindicted co-conspirator. And that it says the circumstantial evidence against the man who is ninth in line to the British throne seems compelling, to say the least. Prince Andrew has not testified before the grand jury or answered questions from the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Although victims of Epstein and Maxwell, such as Jeffrey, I can't pronounce it, could have appeared before the grand jury to provide. Crucial is whether prosecutors were successful in introducing testimony of what is called prior bad acts. This is where testimony of wrongs that cannot be barred from prosecution by the statute of limitations are deemed admissible to prove criminal conduct. And applauding the prosecution for R. Kelly's case, they were able to introduce these prior bad acts and these uncharged acts. In the first part of this investigation, it says it detailed how British police force willfully ignored sex crimes committed by British soil by Jeffrey Epstein, on British soil by Jeffrey Epstein, in order to preserve his status as government informant and to protect high-profile British figures associated with him. It says that what they discovered examines how that cover-up could just come crashing down. So I just want to bring that up to say that these people are getting uncovered. These people are being, the veil is coming off. The exposing is continuing to happen across the boards of all these types of cases. So with regard to R. Kelly, I don't even know. This is what these people really think. Listen to this. This is what they think.
Trial, the Illinois trial and everything, because they're gonna base a lot of it on this case. So if he beat this, it's a good chance it won't even go forward.
So that is nonsense. So what this person is saying is that if R. Kelly beats this case, which he ain't, but they have hope, that the judge in Illinois, because he's watching this case to determine how they're going to move forward or when they're going to move forward with that trial, she said if he gets off on this Brooklyn case, that the Illinois case probably won't even move forward. And why would that be the case when these are separate case jurisdictions, separate indictments, separate everything? Does that make any sense to any of y'all? Y'all still with me?
No, but the jury gonna make it make sense.
Love Warrior.
Yeah, I said the jury gonna make it make sense.
No, I said Love Warrior.
Oh.
She over there asleep. Remember y'all? Last time.
No, I couldn't get my mic. I couldn't get my mic on. I was not asleep. Listen, she crazy as hell. One ain't got shit to do with the other. And she needs to shut the hell up with that damn false information.
They
Okay?
act like they forgot that R. Kelly states the fattest state, the whole Chicago, Illinois, which is southwest, north, and east, and got more charges and victims in Chicago than he do in Brooklyn.
Queen Keish, no, that lady was not his wife. If you're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, she was like his madam. She was his Cheryl Mack. She was his Cheryl Mack.
She's Cheryl Mack.
So that pretty much is. I covered everything I want to cover tonight. I'm so proud of myself. Baby, y'all are missing might be the key. Don't tell her I said it.
No.
I'm just messing with you.
Maxwell was the Miss Yak. Mack and Yak.
Man. Okay, what are you saying here?
Got records that it was up Pedophile Island. So he might have been there dancing and knocking on doors.
I am kind of waiting for a bigger tie amongst all of these cases, honestly. I do feel that there are connections. I think the strategy behind getting these convictions may just have to force them to keep them in a separate lanes like this. But I don't know. At some point, I feel like we're going to see some connections. Because they all need to go down. All of them. And I'm going to tell you again, Keith Raniere, look him up. He got 120 years for very, very similar. If I would say, to me, his charges were lighter than R. Kelly's. Yeah. I mean, his cases, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like
right.
I mean, I hate to say it, and I don't say that because these people were rich and white, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. You should never be subjected to that type of behavior, cruelty, violations, you know, but R. Kelly's, to me, is way worse. I feel like he gonna get the book thrown at him just in the same way.
Yep.
So,
as they should throw the book and all other books.
Y'all got any additional commentary for this evening? Because I think I have pretty much covered everything I'm here to cover tonight. We back tomorrow now. The trial is back in motion tomorrow.
Hey, Warriors!
Come on, Warriors. Let's see them dance.
All right, Warriors.
Yeah.
We the dopest.
We are the dopest, baby.
Hey. We the dopest. Warriors.
Let's go, Warriors. Yeah. Let's let them know, baby. R. Kelly is going down, baby. Yeah. Going down. Hashtag
back to court tomorrow, baby.
See me throw the deuces, then I see them later. Everybody asking questions like what's up with Frazier. On that new shit, I got some new tricks. I'm making new hits, man. I thought you knew it. You want the realness?
Shout out, Jocelyn. We love you.
Yeah. You go home to your family, baby.
That's right.
You get one mother and one father.
That's right.
Yes, we here every day after the trial. Make sure you come through. I'm not reading no transcripts, but you ain't got to read the transcripts to know that this nigga is guilty as hell. His own lawyer said that.
Right.
That's right.
Now.
2 for the show, 3's for the dope. You know we about to blow out. So you niggas ain't listening. First place, so don't ever ask what my position is. Queen in my city, got a key to my city. Bet I'll beat anybody you need to see in my city. Hey, come to LA and try it, baby. Pull up on me. Yes. Yeah, she is very pretty. He tried it.
Oh my God.
Fuck you, R. Kelly, bitch!
That's
more
right.
time.
Fuck you, R. Kelly, bitch!
Yeah, baby.
Oh my God.
Got you in a hog time, motherfucker. You are hog time, my nigga. Kiss my
That's
ass.
right, Joy. Get up,
All
get
right,
up,
y'all.
get up.
Much love, much peace.